Me leather jackets from East Asia. I'm smoking up on these beast flavors. What do you think about that, whoever just heard that? Probably wasn't a large number of you, but you probably just heard it. And it was thick. Where am I going? I'm going to YouTube Studio. Oh, Jesus. Oh, whoops. What's the word, bird? Thick. Everybody's heard about the bird. Well, bird itself is the word, so I've heard. Yeah, everybody's heard about the bird. Said a bird. Bird is the word. Right, why is my chat not showing? Do some chatting. Show. It's snowing like crazy. Certainly isn't. Okay, yeah, it is working. I'm hitting some loud right now. G-ball it. Crazy commentary. Good morning to you and you. Right, we're going to start off with, of course, the Wordle to move things along. You know, just get things going. Thank you, Tracy Bennett, for editing today's Wordle. But fuck your newspaper. You're horrible. Peter the Bird is here. Jesus, I was talking about, I don't know it from Family Guy. I'm a far more sophisticated man. I know it from Full Metal Jacket. Of course, I never heard it before that. Right, we're going to start off with Frame, because I want to. First live I've caught. It's a blessing for you. There's truly amazing things are happening on this live. There's a man who's been reading about Venezuela, who's become a part-time expert in Venezuela. Joking. But yeah, it's an interesting one. So it does begin with F. Happy January 6th Eve, Patriots. God, I remember January 6th. Was it? No, it's 5 years ago. It was 2021, wasn't it? I remember it. I remember like sitting. I came home from university, maybe, or I came home from probably doing something, and I've been on a pack. You know what I'm saying? Loud, 24/7. I was on that, and I just came in, and they were all watching it on the TV, and I was like, what is this? And they were like, oh, have you not seen? And I was like, nope. And they were like, oh, yeah, there's good things happening in America. I like the idea of funky. I like the idea. I'm actually going to give that a go. Oh, shit. Actually, you know what? I think it's probably better to try. I'm going to try, no, found. Found is probably better. Okay, maybe it is. No, it can't be funky. Hogs Gone Wild. Flips. Phil. Oh, Phil. Phil. T. What? Phil. Oh no, he didn't really do anything that major. He just posted some. Fling is not. It can't be fling. It has to be something beginning with FIL. And he didn't do anything that bad. He just posted his text to Idubbbz, and it's really, really funny in my opinion. I thought it was great. To Jan 6 when it was going on, I was disappointed by what little happened. Yeah, well, I mean, someone died, but yeah, it wasn't. Yeah. How would it be fails? It can't be fills either. Filth. No, it can't be filth. No S, no H. Filthy? Is it something like this? Philby? Philgy? Might be filly as in a young horse. Yeah, it is. Congratulations on getting that one. I certainly was not going to. Well, I would have actually got that. Oh, wow, it's showing my statistics even though I've never logged in. I have got... Jesus Christ, I've never got a 2 on here. I have got it in 2 before. I've never got it in 1. Is that how you spell young horse? Is a filly just a general young horse? Is in my head at this point, and that shit was normal. I mean, in any other country, you would not call it an insurrection. You would call it an attempted coup and seizure of power. It just kind of turned into nothing. God, I just turn on my Twitter and there's amazing things happening. Marco Rubio's up to something. Current streak 1. What? Oh, it's because I don't do... yeah, we'll quickly do connections. Our statistics. Collectivizing them. Yes. Sorry. My trousers are way too loose or tight. It's kind of a really hard description to make because they're too tight around my thighs, but not tight enough around my waist. So anytime I sort of move anywhere, they fall down a bit. And so I've had to have my shirt tucked in all day. So it's not cool. When I was at the gym earlier, I had a tucked in shirt. And it was like, it doesn't look good. My glasses are just filthy as well. I've got one of these rags, and I'm wearing different ones. If there's a tiny amount of you who may have noticed. They're not new. They're just another pair. Well, they are new. They're just a pair of new glasses that I don't wear because I prefer the others, but I don't really care at this point. I just put on whichever I find in the morning. Right. Just finished the episode with Taylor. Yeah, sorry, I meant to respond to a couple of those. Some people have been saying they enjoyed the episode with Taylor. I really enjoyed doing that episode. Probably one of my favourites alongside the Noah one. I really enjoyed that one. And also the other one that was most recent. Yeah, it was very good. I personally really enjoyed it, and I'm glad people are. I would enjoy doing it again with Taylor for people asking. It's doing very well. Okay, comment, like, post. Then what's the other? Lurk. They're all Reddit terms. Things you can do on social media. I guess you upvote on Reddit, apart from, yeah. Brutal, extreme. Real violence. Opposite violence. Versus violence. Very violence. 5 violence. Man of violence. Pole violence. Impression violence. End violence. Because I was just going to say brutal violence. Extreme violence. Can we get a bone smashing stream? Yeah, that's my next goal. Bone smash for 24 hours. Again with the Ethan Klein drama. I haven't posted or made a video about Ethan in like 2 weeks, where I haven't done a full stream about him. I just thought it was pretty funny that he was reacting to he posted his DMs. And it's something that's a bit of a reprieve from all the news recently. End poll, extreme, opposite, and end. Why is it those? Just like opposite things? Okay, furthest point. Oh. Manner, impression. Oh. You've never, ever, ever been on my stream before. Please don't cry. You made your account 3 days ago. Like, I don't think you actually care at all. Like, it's not like I spend my whole time covering random drama on this app. Sorry, someone's messaged me on WhatsApp, so I need to check that. Oh, it's Isaac. Ugh. Sick man. The sick man of... the sick man of the stream. He's been really focusing on him. He hates Idubbbz because he views him as having betrayed him. That's basically it. Right, I don't know. Versus... impression versus brutal manner. The world has been on fire since Franz Ferdinand got coked. Yeah, I mean, got kirked. I mean, lots and lots and lots of people have been kirked. Lots of significant events happened before that. Voltaire? I don't know. I am really struggling. Yeah, hit the like button. We love Isaac. Yeah, I like Isaac too. I asked him to come on today, but he's doing something. So he's not coming on today, sadly. I've been asking him to come on day after day, and he just doesn't reply. I really can't... Can someone tell me the answer? Things that can be V. Oh, versus volts. And what's the other? Five. Of course it is, yeah. Very clever. Well done. What are these? Oh, are these forms of art? Yeah. That makes sense. Look, I've completed 2 and I've got a 50... What? It's not true. That's my first ever perfect puzzle. Oh, okay. I see. Okay. Right. Let's begin with a little bit of light reprieve. Obviously, as some of you will have heard on the podcast, Taylor was mocking Ethan. But this has also produced some upset for him. Now, I hadn't even looked at this one. Have Ian and Anissa spoken over any Venezuelan voices yet to tell us how it really is? The only reason that this is actually very funny is because Ethan thinks that Ethan is the problematic endpoint of all of this stuff, where you genuinely think that the voice of your wife as an Israeli who served in an illegal occupation of other people's land and really shows no kind of like remorse about any of it, and you said you're proud of what she did, is some kind of person who should be listened to over someone who has studied this, who actually has any care or regard for this. Like, it was very evident from, like, Ethan's podcast that this for him is literally just drama. I don't think he's ever talked about it in any other capacity. Like, he doesn't regularly talk about, okay, this thing was happening in Palestine or that thing was happening in Palestine, because he doesn't give a shit, realistically. But yeah, I don't care, like... There are a lot of divergent voices on many different topics. The video about Iran where they got something wrong is like, okay, yeah, they got something wrong about Iran. I mean, what did they even say? I don't want to watch that video. But Ian and Anissa got something wrong about Iran. I think they didn't know that you could be arrested for, like, I think it was someone who was dancing in the street or something. And of course, like, the Iranian government is repressive, but it's sort of pot kettle black, like... I think both of them probably know more about the world than Ethan Klein, the guy whose entire being has been dedicated to sort of defending Israel while simultaneously saying you're upset by a genocide.
He texts us all.
That Lord texted us the other
day. Dude,
he
texts us all the time, man.
All the time.
It's
and we
so
never
annoying.
Respond. You should see Ian's phone. Well, it's a group text.
Yeah.
It's like maybe 12 unhinged texts in a row.
Yeah.
The most recent one was... It makes it easier to ignore him because you can tell he's in
great
severe
pain. Yeah.
By the way, I think that both of them are right, and I think I mentioned this in the episode with Taylor, if I remember correctly, where I basically was just like, you know what, it is pretty obvious that he is not very happy, that he is very, very, very miserable, is not like a happy person enjoying his life. I also think, please don't cry, you've made a second account to comment this kind of stuff on my thing, because you're saying keep away from that vid. I explained the context of the vid. We just don't need to watch it right now. But this is an amazing thing. This is malicious or just snark. How do you not include us explaining it 2 minutes before, lol? From the H3H3 Productions community on Reddit, Ian shows clip of Ethan maliciously hiding 6 months pass. I like how he's written out a little timeline here. Genuine hurt and confusion from a friend. 6 months pass. I was drinking with a friend and explaining how you rat fucked me and felt inspired to send you some holiday cheer. Immature, I admit. We do a little trolling. I am not gonna lie. I don't text anyone like this when I'm upset and drunk. Like, because I'm 25 years old. This is maybe something I would have done when I was very, very young. But I'm not 16 anymore. Hey guys, hope you are both miserable. Say hi to the 100 people watching your stream. How's unemployment benefits in Canada? Once again, one of the biggest evidence that money will not buy you happiness. And he hasn't been rat fucked. Like, rat fucking is like a political term, and it basically refers to someone just like finding out information about you and then fucking you over, I think, in my understanding. Yeah. It's, rat fucking is an American slang term for behind-the-scenes covert political sabotage, dirty tricks, particularly pertaining to elections. It was brought to public attention by Bob Woodswood and Carl Bernstein in All the President's Men. So that's the book that preceded the brilliant, wonderful Robert Redford film. But anyway, this guy is sitting in his $10 million mansion, crying and whining. He has 3 kids, and he's getting drunk on Christmas and messaging Idubbbz for engaging in covert political activism against him. Rat fuck is a political term, is what that actually means. It's not like just some random thing. It also has nothing to do with what Idubbbz did to him. By the way, can you guess what they're watching that Ethan has cropped out of this? Or I don't even know how he's put together this story. Ethan's knowledge of how to use basically Instagram stories is truly unparalleled in the world we live. When you post like 50,000 stories, you get access to other aspects of it. Because actually, you know what? I'm saying this. This is really bizarrely laid out. The video like up here, this put in his little timeline here. It's amazing. I erased the first one because I accidentally covered the dates of the texts. And right. Sorry. This is the real where the gold mine lies. So he's been sending them. Anissa, you've been like this. Oh wait. We'll start by reading out what he's got to say. Fuck it. Let's keep everyone feasting over the break. There are 3 sets of messages. First is right after the content cop, and second is right after content deputy. Therefore, the first 2 videos were direct responses to his highly personal attack videos. In this case, I feel the direct messages were more than justified. Third, admittedly, was just for fun. And while very immature, I do think it's vital you both remember that you squandered your entire fortune and career. No socks, no plates, no bitches. That's just a little internet humor. I would never call a woman the B word. Feel free to block me, though. I won't repeat that word. You guys are still welcome to call in any time. Truly amazing stuff is happening on here. And yes, I hope everyone had a nice Christmas. Probably nicer than Ethan Klein's. I don't know, like, after you've said, oh, no, I haven't obsessively texted these people, posting this stuff, and how you were like, oh, I've owned everyone, I've dunked on everyone, I've done this, I've done that, and then you've just shown that you sent a ton of deranged messages. This you? Anissa, you've been like this the whole time? How two-faced does it get? And Ian, you are beyond pathetic, man. Nothing to even say to you. Honestly, I cared about you guys, and always did. Always did right by you. It's funny, we suspected you were not on our side, and that's why you were silent, and you confirmed it in your video. Meanwhile, you guys have been on Snark for years. Pathetic two-faced behavior. Meanwhile, Ian gets all high and mighty about why would I need something from you. Meanwhile, soaking up our promotion and support while spreading poison through the other side of your mouth. Shame on both of you. I can't really read that, but it'll be on the next one. Just to put your mind at ease. Oh, hello, Ethan's Basement. Healer knows she does the same stuff to Taylor. Yeah, I mean, when she... all of these people are very strange. It is kind of crazy how you can accumulate so much wealth and have so many weirdos who are, like, entirely devoted to you, to the point where they are, like, AB and Dan and all these people who stake their entire careers on their devotion to you. And yet you are just so miserable. You have a successful YouTube show and you're meant to be taking time off with your family. Like, look, I still post, like, over Christmas I posted a little bit on, like, other social media accounts, but I don't really do anything. I don't really do anything else related to it. Like, I don't really, you know, I take a break from stuff, but I also don't have a wife and kids. Prove it for all of them. Make the account public. People said the worst things about you, and I never believed any of it. I hope you saw all those comments I left in support of you over the years. Those were actually genuine. If you even know what that means. Sorry, is that too transactional for you? To expect my friend not to have a secret Twitter account where she shits on me? By the way, Ian, you told AB it was a net positive. Tell that Dr. Kirk. Don't get it twisted. Everything that dude is going through is your fault. Why the fuck would you insert that poor man into the middle of this? Empathy? Bro? For real? I don't think I could ever be this mad over someone on the internet. I really don't. That I could be texting them like this. And once again, to the person who said your 3 videos that have more than 100k views were on Ethan Klein. Well, first of all, yes, that is categorically true. I have really stopped posting videos, however. But the other point is if I wanted to, I could just track everything that Ethan ever did. Like, I could, categorically. There are so many people who do this with Hassan. I could make videos every week saying Ethan is finished now and pick out every single talking point that appears on Snark, that appears anywhere. I mean, actually, you know what? On Leftovers H3, I'm not calling it Snark. I'm not giving any weight to this guy's thing. I could turn myself into a Hassan waiting room. I could just spend my time arguing in favor of Hassan. But I don't do that because I also like to do other things. However, simultaneously, things like this are just quite funny and people are gonna like to hear about this kind of stuff, you know? And so sort of just spamming in the chat constantly about how you are upset by what I'm doing when you don't watch me, when you don't care about anything I do, bears no weight on what I'm going to do. I hope you realize that. And I also, and actually simultaneously, one other point. How easy do you think it is to build a profile and reach as someone who generally talks about politics like Palestine, who generally talks about about politics that are left-wing and are generally not algorithmically appealing on the whole and also are suppressed? How do you think that you do that? Because I'm not selling people here insane conspiracy theories that make them feel good and this kind of stuff. I try and be honest and frank. So, you know, I'm always going to talk about these things when I actually find them interesting. Why do you think Bad Empanada needs to be exposed? I watched his video. It didn't seem like a thing that was in any way it didn't seem in any way like just a really pro or like a really fed posting video. I watched it. It's fine. Anyway, this man is insane. And yeah, Dr. Kirk may refer to Charlie Kirk because this was before Charlie Kirk passed away after his neck just did that kind of shit. But I don't really know. It's very sad. However, I feel like once again that was just his people, his fans harassing them. Oh wait, sorry. Anyway, and how dare you put Lena in this situation too, and to keep promoting her like she's the only fighter on the card. Shameless and vile. How empathetic. And then after they didn't respond, if someone didn't respond to me like that, like I don't think they were that close. I don't think that they were very good friends. Like realistically, I don't think they were any way as close as Ethan is making out here. After someone ignored that, I would just leave it. I would just leave it and say, look, I'm this many years, I'm 40 years old. I have a life, I have kids, and yeah. Ugh. I heard you guys like kicking people when they're down. Let me return the favor. Fuck you both. You deserve what's happening to you. I am guessing you heard we are stepping down from Creator Clash. We are doing that so people like Lena, who have been training for this, can participate in a charity event without us being a distraction. We hope when we are no longer involved, you will allow her to compete in something she's been training for. I don't remember all of this now, but I do remember there were videos of Ethan saying shit like, there were videos of Ethan talking about whether she would be allowed to do it or not. And he was like, oh, you should remove out, we'll pull out, we'll pay you the money and stuff. I'm not prohibiting her in any way, dipshit. This is all you, my friend. She was fine, everything was fine, until you dropped that video. You both are so insanely selfish. You put her in an impossible situation. You fucked Dr. Kirk too. How could you not tell him beforehand? Maybe Ethan might actually be talking about Charlie Kirk, but making the mistake that it's like, you know, people refer to Martin Luther King as Dr. King. And so he thinks it's Dr. Charlie Kirk because, you know, he was so upset when he died. I genuinely can't believe that. I can't believe that so many people cried over Charlie Kirk on the internet. I get it for, like, the only person who It is utterly ridiculous. I think the only person that I think that there is any excuse for, maybe, is Parker. Because as stupid as his video was when he said, Dean. As stupid as his video was when he was like, I put myself in Kirk's wife's shoes and whatever, he at least could say, well, I had a friend there and I was worried about Parker in the front and blah, blah, blah. But aside from that, if you're crying over Charlie Kirk, Jesus Christ, thanks for the 100 arse. For someone who lives in Latin America and claims to be left-wing, Bad Empanada lied on his video on purpose. In a second video, Bad Empanada affirmed his narrative that Maduro surrendered to the US and it's all a show. I mean, I saw some things that I don't necessarily agree with what he was saying in his video, but also simultaneously more information has emerged, and that was done on Sunday. But there were things pointing that way, and I saw him arguing that point. However, I don't know if I necessarily agree with it, although it is interesting that there was basically no resistance from the government of... no resistance from the government of... from the military of Venezuela, or very limited resistance. That Dr. Kirk, the apology rater guy. Charlie Kirk was literally Jesus Christ. He was for a lot of people. My town had a memorial service for him. Jesus Christ. He thinks someone wants to do the same to him. Gang stalking delusions. I mean, yeah. To be fair, there are a lot of weird irony-poisoned people on the internet, but I don't think Ethan Klein is priority number one, or that he in any way carries any kind of significance on the same level as Charlie Kirk does. I'll be frank with you. She was fine. Everything was fine until you dropped that video. You both are so insanely selfish. You put her in an impossible position. You fucked Dr. Kirk too. How could you not tell him beforehand? That poor dude went through hell because of your thoughtlessness. I hope it was worth it so Anissa could meet Hassan's dog. Jesus Christ. The reason that I was so intrigued by this is how long the messages are. I don't know why anyone would publicly post this after claiming, no, I've barely sent you any messages, because this just looks insane. But then, once again, Ethan can show his fans him being insane, him posting in a very strange way, contradicting exactly what he's just said, and there will still be a huge amount of Reddit posts on his Reddit where they are like, oh, Ethan's so based for this one. He's dunking on Idubbbz again and again. There'll be a whole cult of people who just make positive videos about him and this, and it's just insane. I think calling it a charity event requires you actually donating. Don't act altruistic. Anyone sane would have not done this a third time. Man, y'all are so pathetic. I hope you know that. I was hurting and down bad, and you guys jumped at the top of a massive dog pile. You actually spent time on the snark. That's the biggest betrayal of all. How long you guys been consuming that shit? I'm going to be frank. Leftovers H3 is regularly quite funny. Like, I'm not necessarily looking at it every single day, but I'm not going to lie. There are some quite funny things on there. And particularly how rattled it gets Ethan Klein and his acting that, you know, he is subject to this campaign of harassment that no YouTuber ever has experienced is pretty insane. But yeah. He's also 40 years old. 40-year-old man, by the way, sending... I was hurting and down bad, and you guys jumped at the top of a massive dog pile, and then casually shouting them out in your video. Unreal. What is wrong with you? You are bad and mean people. There is something wrong with you. Do you think he was crying when he wrote this? Ian, you used to be the guy that thought of it from every angle and prepared the best arguments and counter-arguments. What happened? Anissa, I want you to know what a coward you are and a phony. I'm so glad you are helping Palestine. How's your advocacy going? Amazing also, by the way, that he says, like, how's your advocacy going for Palestine? This is just the kind of joke that Zionists make because to make people feel bad about doing anything for Palestine. You could be making the most informed videos imaginable. You could be working as hard as possible, and Zionists will still go, how's the advocacy going? You're not saving anyone in Palestine. And that's fundamentally what Ethan is, you know? And once again, just as someone who... It is utterly ridiculous. As someone who posts, like, you know, who has posted apologies for your conduct around Palestine. It is utterly ridiculous. I think at one point you would say, actually, you know what, maybe there's some kind of reasonable nature to at least some of the criticism, and that I actually need to work on it, that I need to think about how I conduct myself on the internet. And by the way, Idubbbz video wasn't even that bad. Like, it just wasn't even that bad. It wasn't even that much of, like, a horrible bullying call out to him. You don't understand. If you live in Latin America, there were so many videos that contradicted Bad Empanada's narrative. Interestingly, the narrative that Bad Empanada promotes is the same one that the paid Zionist agents... I didn't really get that vibe from his video. Thanks for the ARS, 100 ARS, Aitor. But I just didn't get that vibe that it was like a paid Zionist narrative. I mean, perhaps this idea that there was like a coup that was being done intentionally by, that the coup was internal and all of this stuff. Maybe there's no truth to it. However, simultaneously, I think it's quite hard to discern what's happening anyway, because Trump is saying one thing that is seemingly completely incongruent with reality. They probably won't hold Venezuela. They said that they were going to hold Gaza. Ethan is like Monty Python, Black Knight. Run the it's just a fresh wound clip. You know, even as a British person, I've never actually seen Monty Python. I doubt I can show it on stream, but I know what that clip is. But you're right. Like, he gets himself in drama after drama, and he's just like, oh, it's just snark, it's just snark, it's just snark. What have you accomplished? Anytime you want to call in and discuss Israel and Palestine, you let me know. Then again, this is malicious or just snark. Jesus Christ. What was he doing on the 13th of December? Just texting. That's also quite an early time to be drunk. And it's not like it's the end of the night, you know, you're just out and about and you're like getting ready for bed and, you know, it's sleepy time. No, he's texting that fully when he's with his mates. I don't watch Vouch. I don't know much about Vouch, but I'm not so sure that I like Vorsh. I'm not so sure I like Vorsh. I mean, he's a bit of a pedophile, isn't he? It's just a really odd text chain. Anissa inadvertently admitting she was running defense for a predator. So glad the Dr. Disrespect news is finally out. I was holding on to the information for years and wasn't allowed to say anything. Same, also the fact that there's more shit that people don't know about yet. Oh shit, so you know, no. Okay, I wasn't sure how many people knew. I wonder if that will ever come out. By the way, it's not always your business to share. It is utterly ridiculous. It's not always your business to share other people's stories of abuse. Like, it's just not. Even in a situation where you really don't like someone, if you know specifically someone who is the victim and they tell you, hey, please don't talk publicly about this, then you can't talk publicly about this because it's not your information to share and tell. So, you know, who knows this context? And also, by the way, Ethan said he was trying to protect a literal sexual predator, and Paige Christie made this excellent point of, an alleged sexual predator. Paige Christie made this point that, like, the way you get close to H3H3 is by meeting up with someone who's like vaguely in his crew, who's someone who's nearby in close proximity to him. And then if you ingratiate yourself with them, maybe you'll get to meet Ethan. Maybe one day you'll be paid to be one of his sycophants. But yeah, to be fair, drunk afternoon texts are usually worst. I mean, maybe drunk afternoon texts. I mean, first of all, I'm not often drunk in the afternoon. Very rarely. But second of all, I just feel like 7 p.m. How long have you even been with someone at that point? Because you've either met them really early in the day, you've just got home with your kids, and your first response is just, oh, you know, I'm gonna text Idubbbz and tell him how miserable he should be this Christmas. I'm puzzled on how Maduro can keep his chin up despite the wounded leg, et al. Thanks again for the 5,500 Chilean pesos. Sorry, excuse me. I mean, I didn't know he had a wounded leg. I knew he was limping in some of the things. I thought his leg was cuffed, but apparently, yeah, he is. His leg is wounded. I heard that also earlier. But I don't know. He's clearly just a very interesting character. What time was he in the Bahamas? God, I don't know enough about Ethan's life. Let's watch the full clip of what Ethan said about him. What Idubbbz said about him.
Are we talking about PT?
PT, Peter Thiel? Teal?
No, the other PT.
Oh, yeah, we were, yeah. Briefly.
He texted us the other day. I'll drop that, Lord.
Yeah.
He texted us the other day.
Dude, he texts us all the time, man.
All the time.
It's
and we
so
never
annoying.
Respond. You should see Ian's phone. Well, it's a group text.
Yeah.
It's like maybe 12 unhinged texts in a row.
Yeah.
The most recent one was... It makes it easier to ignore him because you can tell he's in
great
severe
pain. Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder if a lot of the narratives around the lives of Idubbbz and... Well, actually, you know what? I think a lot of the narratives around the happiness of Idubbbz and Anissa and everyone, like, put frankly, you don't know that much about their relationship. You don't know what happiness looks like when, you know, you're not involved with those two people. However, I will say, on the basis... It is utterly ridiculous. However, I will say, on the basis of what has been posted online by both Ian, Anissa, and H3, Ethan Klein, Ethanic Cleansing, I will straight up say that Ian and Anissa seem happier because neither of them are doing this. Neither of them are sending this many texts and thinking that this somehow makes them look good. But once again, I want you to realize that when someone is sycophantically involved with you, that they, like, adore you, and nothing that you can do will result in any kind of response to them, any kind of negative response to them. It's just like, these people aren't going to give a shit. Like, Ethan can post whatever shit he wants, and people will just be like, oh my god, you're so based, you're so awesome. Maybe Aitor, maybe I need to make a video explaining how Bad Empanada is not real left. For someone who can speak Spanish, it's clear Bad Empanada is lying. Don't defend a possible ultra-cynical at best. Once again, I didn't make the video is the only thing I'll say. I didn't make the video that Bad Empanada is talking about. Yeah, I've watched it. I thought it was fine analysis. I don't think he got everything necessarily right. But I don't know enough about South America and all of this stuff. I'm sure that Bad Empanada would literally be happy to talk to you about this kind of stuff. I'm not sure how, like, the video was like a paid Zionist troll kind of video. If anything, Bad Empanada takes things very, very, very far to the point where most people are uncomfortable to say them. However, there is still an important kernel of truth within them. I don't think I would, and you guys know this, I don't conduct myself like Bad Empanada on the internet. I don't behave as he does. I don't say all of the things he does, but that doesn't mean necessary. But if you listen to me, generally there is like a...
it is utterly ridiculous.
Generally there is like a kernel of truth in what I'm saying. In a kernel of truth that is similar. He isn't a leftist. I mean, undeniably Bad Empanada is a leftist. Like, Bad Empanada is a leftist. But once again, yes, I don't want to debate about Bad Empanada. I am not Bad Empanada. He will debate you. Bad Empanada will debate you. He will talk to you. But thank you for the donations. But yeah, honestly, I don't know what to say. But anyway, sorry, I've kind of lost track. I was going to hopefully turn this into a video, but I don't know if that'll work now. However, yeah, I mean, just looking at this and looking at the conduct of Ethan in his videos when he gets very upset, when he's shouting and screaming, when he's appearing on his videos saying he needs to improve his reputation, it kind of looks like someone who is suffering, someone who is not happy. And I made this point in one of my videos. It doesn't actually come across as someone who is, like, contented in life. Like, I hope at the point that I have 3 kids, or if I ever have the privilege to have that many children, that I'm certainly not posting stories all day about people. In fact, I have, like, a pretty decently sized Instagram platform in comparison to most people who make YouTube videos, and I could post arguments that I have with random people in DMs, which I don't do anymore because what's the point? I could post DMs about how much I hate X person, but I generally don't because I'm just, like, going on and just enjoying my life. Fence sitting between Bad Empanada and Hassan. You okay, buddy? Jesus Christ! What? Oh my God! You're getting pretty good at winding me up, in the sense of, like, wait. I can answer this. Don't worry. I don't care. People can derail. It's the chat and it's people talking, and I've been posting and dealing with chat on places like TikTok, which is far, far, far worse than this. But I am neither of these people. I am not Bad Empanada. I am not Hassan Piker. I don't watch Bad Empanada in every single thing he does. Granted, I watch him more than Hassan Piker. Yes, that is undeniably true. I think that there are many things that Bad Empanada does that are worthy of criticism. I think that there are certainly things that Hassan does that are worthy of criticism. And whenever one of you points them out, I will either agree or I will disagree. I think that there are things that everyone who is a political operator does that is worthy of criticism. Yeah, it's just... Oh, the 5p at wind-up. Do you condemn Hassan Piker? Yeah, I am neither Greek nor Turkish, and my country defeated everyone. My country has defeated everyone. Yeah, I pinned. Yes, I jailed Bad Empanada's ancestors and sent them to the colony. I defeated everyone until we didn't defeat everyone. You can get a super chat by donating 3 pennies. Can you? Yeah, I don't think ARS is worth very much in the UK, but who cares? It's a donation. God. Right. This has really derailed the plan for the stream. I mean, I didn't really plan for this.
It is utterly ridiculous.
I'm letting you know because I know you watch Bad Empanada. I repeat, I'm sorry. Don't apologize. It's fine. It's just... Oh, gosh. The wonders of being a streamer. Hold on 1 second. I'm just going to hide my camera for literally a second because I don't want to show you my jogging bottoms falling down. Right, I have returned and we'll go back to covering this. Hold on, I'll go on full screen for this because my girlfriend has asked me to do this. She bought me a lovely key, which is from somewhere in Canada, I think. I'm not sure, I can't remember what it says at the top. It seemingly says, I assume it says Al-Quds, but it doesn't look like it says that. But whatever it is, it's a very pretty key with the Al-Aqsa Mosque at the top and some other things. I really want to put it behind me somewhere, but I need to get something. I also have a beautiful jumper that someone knitted for me that's way too small, but it would look good in the background. But yeah, there we go. There we go. I've done it now. It is very pretty. I just need to get it back up. It's got your personal home address in Arabic. Shit. Oh, right. Gosh. Ethan's basement is going to have a wondrous time trying to work out what on earth should go in here. But... But yeah, I showed it on stream.
It is utterly ridiculous.
Lock in and like for the stream. Michelle, thank you for the 4 months. It says the Kuns in Arabic. Unfortunately, I know that it definitely does not say the Kuns in Arabic. Oh, right. Here is definitely something that I wanted to include. I'm surprised Ethan hasn't made any content about this because it would definitely upset him. I would say, though, just quickly to pause this image, Isaac is mogging me. The negative canthal tilt is causing issues.
Ethan is just a very disgusting, unhappy, miserable old man.
He is indicative.
Oh. Wow.
It is utterly ridiculous.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everyone in the chat. Raja. I thought Raja was return. What's the full thing of return? I don't know. But yeah, if you haven't checked it out yet, I would highly recommend you check out the No Politic here. I thought we'd end up.
These are people.
I thought we'd end up talking about. I thought we'd end up talking more about Ethan, but we really, really didn't. We really, really didn't end up doing much about Ethan. There's only a little bit in there.
There's Olivia hate.
How can anybody hate Olivia?
No, actually, they're supporting her.
Okay.
But I actually need to say that this is not a good post.
I've never seen this one before. What is happening? Many things are happening. Who knows? Everything's going a bit crazy. We're going off topic today. But yeah, this is being upset over a sort of a piece of art that says Palestine will never die from the river to the sea. I've never seen this.
From the river to the sea literally is saying that we need all of Israel must be ours.
By the way, fuck Israel and all of it should be Palestinians. Palestinians are the rightful owners of the land. I think that they should try and build a... the society should be binational. However, ultimately, Palestinians are the indigenous people to that land. There are no two ways about it. Europeans who went over there largely after the start of the 20th century, and then eventually Jewish people from the rest of the Middle East, when the European settler colonial project ran out of, or the number of Jewish people available in Europe was hugely reduced by the German extermination. That is not indigeneity. That is a project that took away the land of the Palestinians. I have seen and heard the clip, is what I realise. However, I've never actually seen it like this intensely.
See, I think that's part of the problem, is that people don't necessarily understand what some of this stuff means.
Yeah.
Like
that's
Olivia probably doesn't even know what "from the river to the sea" reference means.
No, I mean, no.
And
I like how that was ever and by the way, anyone who considered that ever to be a problem, anyone who considered this to ever be a matter that was worth spending your time even mentioning is unserious, is a moron, is someone who is a defender of the Zionist project.
I see that a lot, but people who don't know what it means all of the Jewish people will probably die.
Amazing. It means all of the Jewish people will die. Yeah, that's what "from the river to the sea" means. Yeah, that's what "from the river to the sea" means. Also, sorry, there is something I forgot to mention, which I think is very, very pertinent. One of the most important things that you will ever hear. In this image, Isaac really looks like some sort of communist dictator portrait. He looks glorious. I don't really know why. And also, actually, sorry, just to refer back to that, why do I care what "from the river to the sea" means in the context of the Zionist project? What do you think "Am Yisrael Chai" means? That is a far more repugnant and grotesque statement in terms of what Israel has done over the last few minutes. Sorry, I've just opened Twitter, and it's a, oh my god, it's a video of Charlie Kirk, and he gets shot, and then he starts dancing and holds up a sign that says "I'm dead." Sorry, it's one of the most insane AI videos that I've ever seen. But yeah, either way, Isaac looks great. Ethan is a pathetic little worm. I wonder if he's just going to react to everything Taylor said and say that he hates us both. I bet that this has already got a reaction out of Papa Gut. I bet Papa Gut has already posted a video about this. No. Why do these people seem to make all their streams members only? This is Iran. What happened to Call Me Carson? I don't want to become a member to see Papa Gut's streams. But I can't actually see anything he's doing on there. Wait, what is the other one? He's a really big fan of this stupid Princess Mantis lady, who I haven't seen what she's up to in a while. She's just making videos about Anissa.
It is utterly ridiculous.
And then other things. Hello, chat. Hello, everyone. Right, we're going to end this there, and we're going to do some Venezuela stuff. We're going to do some Venezuela stuff, I think. I can't really think of anything else to do with this that I want to talk about. Oh, wait. There's something here about AB and his dad. I didn't watch this. Of course I didn't.
We renamed the Airport Authority building after...
Oh, wait. Do Not Worry. Shout out Do Not Worry donated. What does your dad think about Ahmed Fouad Al-Khatib calling saying that CAIR is a terrorist organization? If you don't know, AB's dad works for it. You don't get it, Chris. 95% of Jewish people are Zionists. Yeah, I mean, it is a great argument, to be fair. It is a great justification for supporting Israel, but thanks to the ARS.
Named the Airport Authority building after him, Michael Berry, and I was all in support of it. You know, we all come on shoulders of individuals before us, and you know, Mike Berry was a great inspiration for a lot of people in the community. He was chairman of Wayne County, the Wayne County Road Commission, the second largest county in the country, and he had an international airport named after him. From
1 minute later.
There's these group of people. It's very lucrative right now to talk shit about Ethan Ela, to get involved in this conflict and speak in a way that is so extreme that it's not going to.
I will tell you one thing that's certainly more lucrative than getting involved in favor of, against this, is turning yourself into a H3 waiting room. Like, you can be a talentless moron, and if you just turn yourself into an H3 waiting room and literally just talk about H3, in fact, calling yourself an after party, if you make incessant videos about Hassan, Idubbbz and Anissa, Cruel World, Happy Mind, and you just follow exactly what Ethan says, even with the shittiest low production quality imaginable, you are gonna get views from H3 fans who are so stupid that they will love anything that you say. But sitting at the pinnacle of what is the most lucrative, it is being one of Ethan's sycophantic lovers. If you are one of Ethan's sycophantic crew, he will potentially pay you tens of thousands, if not millions of dollars, to sit there and tell him he is right about everything, whilst he denigrates the Palestinian people, whilst he denigrates Arabs more generally, whilst he perpetuates the lies that have led to the slaughter of tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, well in excess of hundreds of thousands of human beings. That is certainly very, very lucrative if you tokenize yourself as an Arab. And I mean, it's even more lucrative to be Ahmed Fraudmad Al-Khatib.
Cause any progress, they're going to say that I'm trying to whitewash what they did, and I'm the token. I'm using you to whitewash them. I will say this about Ethan and Ela. I've had disagreements with Ethan, and on the air stuff he said.
When did he have a major disagreement with Ethan on air? Because I remember him getting buttoned and sent off, and times we didn't see it.
Ethan has always allowed me to disagree with him publicly, privately. He's treated me always like a human. And when this first happened, there was stuff he said, I disagree with, and I would say it, and I would talk to him. And he has always sincerely tried to understand my...
So here's the button. You've got a video, and you've got an audio.
Israel attacked Gaza since October.
You've got a
Do you condemn content crash out?
video, and you've got an audio. We're hitting both.
Israel attacked Gaza since October 7th, not even once. We never co-signed what they did.
Is that not the point he's making, though?
Yeah, and also, if Isaac and I had an employee, it wouldn't be a case of allowing them to criticize us. They can just do whatever they want. They're a human being.
My side. He has apologized for things he said. After 2 years of this, I realized that a lot of people online are so extreme that there's no way they can be sincere. There is no fucking way they can be sincere in their criticism. Yeah. Because they at the end of the day, this is their career. They put Ethan Ela in the title. They make a shit ton of, they get a lot more views because they don't talk about.
I also like how all the people who are like sycophants around Ethan... Wait. H3 podcast. The H3 podcast, his entire business model at this point revolves around this, right? Like, people understand that, right? Like, when they put Trisha Paytas, when they put Hassan in the title, when they put whoever in the title... It does better because it's drama, right? Like,
it is utterly ridiculous.
You know that.
Them to get no views. It's simple math.
Amazing. Sorry, what is this video?
These are people it's like that guy, right? The guy was mainly joking around, fucking around about how I don't care about.
Oh, actually, we're gonna watch that video later. Then we'll talk about that later. But that is enough, Ethan Klein, for today. No more. I'm not doing any more. There's nothing left to do. Gimp AB, you're the token. When do you confront him? By the way, I don't think you can use the term. I've been told by Americans that the term, that term is offensive. In the UK, it doesn't carry the same kind of connotations, but I think it's actually a slur. So I don't think I can leave that up. But yeah, I mean, also having you pick up the dog shit is not really being treated like a human. I feel like if it's your dog shitting on the floor, you should do something about it. Not anyone else. But yeah, anyway, right. Let's move on to Venezuela. So either way, there's been a lot of developments over the last few days since Trump and his cronies carried out effectively a military coup in Venezuela. Which is truly unbelievable that is a thing that has happened over the last few days. You know, that is something that has happened, that's something that's that has occurred. But there are some certainly interesting aspects, which is, it is being alleged by the fucking New York Times that apparently Maduro constantly dancing was the last straw for Trump, and he pressed the button. White House settled on Delcy, who's the Delcy, I think that's how you say it, the vice president, as an acceptable candidate. Her ability to edge up oil output under sanctions impressed some Trump officials. Machado was never a frontrunner. Token is not the slur. Yes, that's the one. It's an older slur. I thought it was just pertained to, I don't know if any other British people in the chat would recognise that. Token is not a slur, but apparently, I don't even want to repeat it for fear of getting in trouble. But yeah, apparently, this is what pushed them over the edge. Al Jazeera are probably going to fucking claim this video now. But yeah, apparently this is what pushed them over the edge. Trump can't dance like him. Yeah, Trump can't dance no more. He was upset by the steez and style of Maduro. His dancing against no crazy war. Peace. Yes. They hate a boy with swag. Maduro has been looks-maxing and hype-maxing, and he's been mogging the DEA. Like, this photo of Maduro is insane. Like, look how much bigger he is. Only this one guy over here, this horrifying DEA agent, is bigger than him. Look at him. He looks pretty good. How old is Maduro? For 63, he ain't looking bad. He's kind of a silver fox, you know. But yeah, this is what the New York Times is claiming. This week, he was back on stage brushing off the latest US escalation, a strike on a dock that the US said was used for drug trafficking, by bouncing to an electronic beat on state television, while his recorded voice repeated in English, "No crazy war." Mr. Maduro's regular public dancing and other displays of nonchalance in recent weeks helped persuade some on the Trump team that the Venezuelan president was mocking them and trying to call what he believed to be a bluff, according to two of the people who spoke on condition of anonymity, because they were not authorized to talk about confidential discussions. I mean, listening to the rhetoric of Trump over the last few days and his discussions of what's going on there, I genuinely don't know how much truth there is to this. Like, it could genuinely just be true because, you know, they seem to have absolutely no plan for what's going to happen there. And I mean, look at this one. Here's Maduro. What, by the way, are any of you able to explain to me what this hat is all about? I think there are some clearer photos of the hat. But look at this one. And by the way, this is the stupidest thing in the world. They've obscured this guy's face in this picture, and yet you can see his jeans. Maduro is not a good guy. Guys, kidnapping him is still illegal. Yeah, I mean, pointing out that, like, maybe he's not been the best for Venezuela is okay. However, simultaneously, I don't want to offer any credibility to the narratives that these people spew, that there is any sort of justification for what they're doing. They don't care whether someone is good or bad. They don't care whether someone does anything positive. This literally boils down to he didn't dance the right tune. Well, he danced the wrong tune, quite literally. He also mogged all of the DEA agents, and that was the final straw for them. Can someone... But yeah, sorry, I would like to know. I kind of missed. I do apologize. What is the hat? Why is he wearing that hat? Like, look at this. Why is he wearing this hat? What is this? Why is he wearing this hat? What is the hat? It looks like a pair of underpants. Like, what? Yeah, he looks kind of good. Yeah, I mean, Andrew Tate probably should be kidnapped. Andrew Tate probably should be kidnapped and extradited to another country. It's not like he's the leader of a foreign country. He's just a straight-up piece of shit. And seemingly, he got off because Trump's son liked him a lot. Right. I'm once again asking about the hat. I will keep an eye on chat. Who can explain why Maduro is wearing that hat?
This in images.
Oh, it's the blindfold flipped up. I choose to believe it's some kind of hat.
It's the first images of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro walking through the DEA office in Manhattan. He was processed with fingerprints and photos. He is awaiting his indictment. Images.
Look at him. They made him perp walk in the stupid hat. I'm sad that they flipped, that it's just a blindfold flipped upwards. But look, this is kind of how I'm forming my political opinions. Bring them home. Free the hostages. They are the hostages. They've been sent to the evil America KKA torture dungeons to be sexually abused by the evil American pervert regime. And I think that they need to be freed. I think that they need to be freed. This is how I define my politics. I hadn't seen this one. Look at this one. Wow. This is certainly a poignant and an important photo. Maduro has been avatarified, and Trump has been transformed into whoever... What's he called in Avatar? Thank you, James Cameron, for birthing this. It is certainly crazy that they managed to fly all those helicopters into the center of Caracas. Like, how does that even happen? Because helicopters have been pretty easy to shoot down for a while. The Mujahideen was shooting them down with US-made Stingers. Maybe there's just no access to equipment as good as Stingers. But simultaneously, it's been so many years since Stingers were like a popular thing. So, you know... Or, sorry, since Stingers were first established and used. So surely they've got some kind of equipment.
Morning, Jamie.
We've got more footage of him being perp walked.
That's right, and there's aerial footage of that transfer from Maduro in Brooklyn, where he was being detained at the Metropolitan Detention Center. You could see him dressed in a khaki jumpsuit.
But even if they shut down their air systems, a Stinger missile, right, is just something you use in your hands, right?
Orange shoes with his hands cuffed in front of him, being moved from an armored vehicle to a black SUV, then to a helicopter. That helicopter landed here in Lower Manhattan, with Maduro and his wife being transferred to the courthouse for the arraignment expected.
Do I not know that Venezuela is as defenseless as Gaza? Is that a serious comment? I don't know.
And Maduro and his wife Celia were indicted along with other members of Venezuela's government and a co-leader of the...
Like, maybe it was just that they, you know, had killed. Apparently, they only killed 80 people, and a lot of people was just directly his security detail. One of the helicopters was apparently hit, and seemingly just with small arms. But I don't know. I'm not enough of like a. I'm not enough of an expert in how this operates. Stingers are anti-aircraft. But yeah, aren't Stingers like the best possible anti-aircraft? Well, I mean, they were in when the fucking invasion of Afghanistan was ongoing.
Tren de Aragua gang. Now, the indictment details 4 specific counts against Maduro, his family, and his allies. Narco-terrorism conspiracy, cocaine import conspiracy, possession of machine guns, and destructive devices.
It is actually so comical that this is what he got indicted for. Because, first of all, the New York Times, the Washington Post, all of these places reported over and over again, oh yeah, there's no truth to this. But the reason that I choose to bring them up is because, now this comes from a semi-small outlet called Semaphore. But Semaphore reported, and this is totally something that I believe... Oh, fuck off. This is totally something that I believe. Semaphore. So, the news organizations of the New York Times and the Washington Post they learned of a secret US raid on Venezuela soon before it was scheduled to begin on Friday night, but held off publishing what they knew to avoid endangering US troops. 2 people familiar with the communications between the administration and the news organization have said, how dare a leader of a state have water pistols? I feel like you shouldn't joke about that because he had like the ballistic Nerf gun. He had like, you know, the Nerf gun from many years ago. He had a mini Nerf gun, a minigun Nerf gun. He had like a... Bro was rocking out with the Nerf N-Strike Vulcan EBF. He also was carrying a load of these with a red dot scope. So, you know, Pam Bondi and the gang had to indict him. Thanks for the 5,500 pesos. But yeah, just indicting him over this is kind of insane. However, the thing that I find so hard to process, right, is... And Israel justifies itself on this crap too, and loads of people believe that it is like a total normal military doctrine to hold. The reason that the New York Times and the Washington Post apparently never publish this kind of stuff largely pertains to the fact that it protects American troops. I am sorry, both of these outlets get their clicks from, like, you know, fucking alleged internet leftists and all of this stuff. They get them on the basis of people saying, like, seeing some good reporting, which is like, no, this is largely about oil, all of the drug stuff, blah, 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 just not true. This is all just manufacturing consent. They have an opportunity to break a major story, to publish it, and then they go, no, American troops might be exposed. They killed like an 80-year-old grandma. The life of that one 80-year-old grandma civilian is just should be, in the opinion of anyone, far more worthwhile than the lives of some Delta Force pieces of shit who go around the world mass murdering. You know? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me that so many people just believe that that is, like, a reasonable thing to do. They could have prevented what is basically... No, what is just undeniably a huge crime. Like, a huge crime. Like, it just objectively is a huge crime. You know? And they could have worked to publish it and let the public know. But instead, they have to protect American troops so that they can go into another country and engage in blowing it up. I don't know. I don't know how that sells to anyone. Yeah, exactly. Like, in a war, like, the only time I'm going to feel some sympathy is, like, you know, when it's the First and Second World Wars, where so many young men who were just like drafted into it were getting killed in the service of, like, you know, empires. And also I feel sympathy for people who die defending their country, fighting for what is right, and like they're actually defending their country. It's not like a US invasion of somewhere. It's like people who are like, no, I want liberation and dignity for the people of my country from a colonial occupation. I have sympathy for those people who die. But US soldiers who are formally trained to go in and alter the politics and ruin the lives of millions of people, I don't get it. And whoever said it in chat, it's what I also feel. And I think is the question that a lot of people ask of some of these journalists is, who do you actually serve? Because you're going to be admonished by the Trump administration, right, for being liberal, lefty, evil, politics, rags who just smear Trump all the time. And yet, the reality is like, you just work in service of the American empire. I mean, we all know this from their reporting about Palestine and such, but it just kind of sucks. Like, it just kind of sucks that this is the best, this is what huge amounts of journalism is used for, you know? Like, sorry, huge amounts of resources that could be put to doing actual important work that occasionally it is, just does nothing. I'm embarrassed to be an American, I'm sorry for how this country treats others. I mean, I think realistically, actually, you know what? I was going to say, I'm British, and Britain has, like, an embarrassing and a ridiculous history. But as, like, a British person, I want to change that, so I kind of don't just sit here and feel shame the whole time. Like, of course the things are shameful, but I can't sit here and just, like, be, oh, I'm ashamed of what my ancestors did. I'd rather work about and, like, learn about changing the present. However, I am not a fucking American, where this is what your country is still doing. I mean, the UK gets its chances to do shameful things all of the time, but yeah. The world wars were inter-imperialist wars. We didn't we needn't feel for them. The Second International did World War II, support World War One, support our troops stuff. What do you mean? I just mean, like, in the context of the First World War, like, definitely they were inter-imperialist wars, but a lot of young men died in the service of basically nothing. And in the context of the Second World War, at least they defeated the Germans, like, objectively good thing. However, unfortunately, it was the Americans and us who defeated the Germans. And of course, I would never ever bother with pride at all. Media outlets are almost all owned by the filthy rich, and the filthy rich are our own governments. Yes, 100%. I mean, I'm actually going to do, like, a part of this segment will be about how pathetic Keir Starmer is, because it is genuinely hard to overstate how pathetic it is to be part of the UK. I will say, that is actually an embarrassing part of UK politics, and something that probably the left should work on, because if you want to get in with a little bit of patriotism, and I think that there are some people who do this, it's just unfortunate that I don't agree with much of their politics, and the patriotism I talk about here is, like, human decency and having some respect. As a country, just being a vassal state of America is truly pathetic. Like, truly, truly pathetic. The statements of the Labour MPs are just unbelievable. Like, truly just unbelievable. Also, sorry, just quickly, Luigi Mangione's perp walk felt, like, bigger than Maduro's did. I guess because everyone knows it's a joke. And yeah, also, by the way, we did actually talk to a real journalist. Like, I think I said this to her. It is quite funny, like, that people like Ethan, so many people just sit there and disrespect Taylor Lorenz. And it's just like, yeah, she's just a serious journalist. Like, let's be frank here. Like, she is doing interesting work, meaningful work. You all know who she is. Come on. Oh, wait, actually, there's one other thing. Do you guys know why apparently Trump turned on Machado? From the Washington Post. Two people close to the White House said the president's... Sorry, I'm probably going to have to move the shit over here. Two people close to the White House said the president's lack of interest in boosting Machado, despite her recent efforts to flatter Trump, stemmed from her decision to accept the Nobel Peace Prize, an award the president openly coveted. Although Machado
utterly ridiculous.
Although Machado ultimately said she was dedicating the award to Trump, her acceptance of the prize was an ultimate sin, said one of the people. If she had turned it down and said, I can't accept it because it's Donald Trump's, she'd be the president of Venezuela. Today, this person said, you know what? I know this sounds like really, really outlandish, like genuinely just unhinged. I don't think it is. I think this is genuinely true. I think in the context of this kind of stuff, Trump literally is ruining his relationship, or was moving towards ruining his relationship with India, because Pakistan flattered him and said he deserved the Nobel Peace Prize, but India refused to do it. He was literally going to tariff, I don't know if he did end up doing it, increase tariffs on India for buying Russian oil, something that they were literally told to do by the Biden administration because it would serve an ally of the US to basically be able to get incredibly cheap oil because Russia had to sell it at a lower price because they were sanctioned, whilst also not hurting an ally in India. Trump was going to tariff them solely on the basis of the fact that they didn't flatter him and say, well done for ending this war. Like Pakistan did, even though Trump didn't play a big role in de-escalation. But India refused to. It is amazing. Keir Starmer is going to be done after the Scottish/Welsh elections, which as a Welsh person I am excited for. Threads of Dragons, I mean... Good for you, and I hope he is. The only thing for me is he seems resilient in the sense of, like, he is so unpopular, but he's also so dangerous to the left in the UK, because there are so many people who are going to be fans of... there are going to be so many people who are still fans of the left and are like, well, I have to vote for the Labour Party because, you know, they're the only serious left-wingers who might win in the UK, and it's just like, oh my god... This is not left-wing politics, watching you unable to condemn Trump. I don't think some of you, if you're not familiar with UK politics, are actually going to believe how bad it's gotten. But right, sorry, I thought it was just worth covering the whole indictment against Maduro. It's insane. Here's Pam Bondi. Nicolas Maduro and his wife, Cilia Flores, have been indicted in the Southern District of New York. Maduro has been charged with narco-terrorism conspiracy, cocaine importation conspiracy, possession of machine guns and destructive devices, and conspiracy to possess machine guns and destructive devices against the US. They will soon face the full wrath of the American justice on American soil in American courts. On behalf of the entire US Department of Justice, I would like to thank President Trump for having the courage to demand accountability on behalf of the American people, and a huge thank you to our brave military who conducted the incredible and highly successful mission to capture the two alleged international traffickers. Now, some of you have been asking, or I saw at least one comment, oh, what are you going to cover next? Now, Isaac has basically said that we're going to cover Venezuela. He said, if you don't, I'm going to attack you. No, he didn't say that. We're definitely going to do that. And so part of that is I've been reading about Panama and the American invasion there, because there was a really good article in Jacobin. I know Jacobin isn't always perfect, but I think some of you, and I think that I'm guilty of this, sometimes we need to take a step back and reckon that outlets can do bad things and also publish good things. And I don't think Jacobin is in any way as morally corrupt as the NYT or anything. Yeah, Maduro was just arrested for his smooth dancing. So this article is really good because it basically talks about how I think we should not overestimate the sense of America's empire being at its strongest. He made the argument that actually in 1989 when they took out the erstwhile CIA asset Noriega, that was much more of a sign of American power in a new world where they were unrestrained by the Soviet Union, where they could completely be different, where they could no longer be stopped, basically. And they carried out a huge mass murder of 3,500 Panamanians, I think Panamanians is the term. And anyway, so they carried all of this out. And that was a time when they were powerful. And now, it kind of looks like decline. And he makes a really good point here about how a lot of it is just theatre. A lot of it is just bombing. A lot of it is just bombing, you know, anywhere and everywhere to make it look like it has power everywhere. But who knows? Also, Sophie, good to see you. Jacobin has a dedicated Labour reporter. Yeah, I also know Daniel Denver, who is fantastic. But I would highly recommend you check this out. And the similar thing is, actually, you know what? There's a major difference, which is this article. Oh, no, wait, no, this is the one. I never knew it was called Operation Just Cause. Does anyone know if that's why the game is called Just Cause? Because I don't even remember the premise of Just Cause. Like the video game. Oh my god, it is just, yeah, it is just that. Just Cause was a pretty fun game when I wasn't allowed to play GTA because I wasn't old enough. But, oh my god. The series directly draws its name from the real-life US invasion of Panama. Kind of crazy. I mean, I guess I was too young to understand what it was for, but yeah. Anyway, do you know why, they called it Just Cause, which is actually insane. Colin Powell renamed it from Operation Blue Spoon to make it Just Cause, so even our severest critics would have to utter Just Cause whilst denouncing us. In Just Cause 3, you drop to Italy-like country to take out your own CIA asset ruler. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. PS2 when I was 12. Yeah, I mean, I played GTA when I was like 11 or 12, GTA 4, but I wasn't old enough to play, yeah, I wasn't old enough and I'd play this. Yeah, I don't know why it was called Blue Spoon. I think it explains it. I assume it's something to do with the Panama Canal because this was all about, but basically, he was a drug trafficker. I'd highly recommend you read this because it explains a lot about the Goldwater-Nichols Act, which was the streamlining of the military command structure, concentrating power in the Secretary of Defense. And this was a result of the invasion of Grenada, where it seemed that different military branches were working at cross purposes. And now they've renamed it Secretary of War. So, but the thing is Noriega was someone who was bad. Noriega was someone who genuinely was a drug trafficker. He was allegedly a CIA asset. He did all of these terrible things. But the reason they got rid of him was basically it pertained to the Iran-Contra affair. And the Iran-Contra affair had made it so that people were concerned about US policy in Latin America. Because, of course, it was corruption in the UA. Sorry, it was corruption in the USA. I just mixed UK and USA. Or US and UAE. I really had a good one there. And so, after he lost American backing, he traded secrets with Cuba and initiated contact with the Sandinista government in Nicaragua and Muammar Gaddafi in Libya. And so, effectively, he was just a puppet who turned a bit, and one of you said the same as Saddam. Yes, that it is exactly the same as Saddam. Saddam obviously wasn't a puppet of the US, but he was very useful to them at specific points. Have you read Petro's statement yet? No, I haven't. Actually, really quickly, guys, I'm really sorry. I've got to go pee. I'm going to put on music today. I'm going to put on music, but when we get back, we'll carry on with this. I'm really sorry. I'm just bursting.
أنا القدسي من البلدة القديمة، أنا من شوارع فلسطين الحبيبة، أنا القدسي من البلدة القديمة، أنا من شوارع فلسطين الحبيبة، أنا من القدسي، أنا من القدسي، أنا من القدسي، أنا من القدسي، أنا من القدسي من البلدة القديمة، أنا من شوارع فلسطين الحبيبة، أنا من القدسي من البلدة القديمة، أنا من شوارع فلسطين الحبيبة، أنا من القدسي، أنا من القدسي، أنا من القدسي، أنا من القدسي. الشوارع في المزارع في المصانع في الطرقات، في الشوارع في المزارع في المصانع في الطرقات، سأبقى أناضل 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 لتحرير الأرض والإنسان، سأبقى أناضل 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 لتحرير الأرض والإنسان. أنا من القدسي، أنا من القدسي، أنا من القدسي، أنا من القدسي، أنا من القدسي بالبلدة القديمة، أنا من شوارع فلسطين الحبيبة، أنا من القدسي بالبلدة القديمة، أنا من شوارع فلسطين الحبيبة، أنا من القدسي، أنا من القدسي، أنا من القدسي، أنا من القدسي.
Right, I've returned. CK live chat rave time. You are all going crazy in here. And once again, who nearly got away with what? Issue with... Yes. I think the perspective of Venezuelans, the perspective of anyone in the diaspora is confusing. I met I met people with very different opinions. I met like Iranians with differing opinions, you know. Did you have a nice pee? Of course I did. It was an epic one. Did I wash my hands? You can probably see by the water that I splashed on myself. Yes. Oh, also, by the way, I saw Pillion yesterday, which is pretty good actually. If any of you get the chance to see it, it's pretty good. I'd highly recommend it if you get the chance. But yeah, I'm back. And yes, Silent Side's BRB screen is fantastic. Shout out to Silent Scythe. Where were we? But anyway, right, let's get into the interviews because we're kind of seeing a bit more of developing stuff. I'm just going to start with a few
It is utterly ridiculous.
Of Riyad Awad album. Yeah, the Riyad Awad album is fantastic, and you know, maybe I'm going to prison for saying intifada. The police are going to arrest me, but as I have always maintained, intifada is a word that I don't think we should even accept any criticism of. That we should accept, oh, it could mean violence. No, it is they are predominantly non-violent uprisings that were militarized by the vast Israeli response. Yeah, but even then, because I met quite like diverse Iranians, I met some older ones who were like kind of yearned for the Shah in some ways, but also weren't like idiots and weren't like, oh, that means we should, you know, kill Palestinians. But then you also meet some who are like, actually, we should all worship Israel and such. But thank you for the £2, Kay Durkin.
As you know, the Congressional Gang of Eight has a history of not leaking. But you mentioned the indictment of Mr. Maduro, and of course it does detail his drug running operations. In the same jurisdiction, the former president of Honduras was actually convicted on similar charges, yet the president pardoned him. Here's what the vice chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Mark Warner, had to say about that. He said, "You cannot credibly argue that drug trafficking charges demand invasion in one case while issuing a pardon in another." What's your response?
Well, the president has the pardon authority. He's the one that reviewed the file with the folks at the White House to make these pardon decisions, and I refer questions to them on it because I'm not involved in the pardon process. So I can't comment on that because I wasn't involved in that process. But the president outlined yesterday that he felt that in that particular case there was unfairness, and that there was unfairness in the way that individual was treated. And he also pointed to the fact that the party that's now won the elections in Honduras had asked for this. And so I would point to those comments as a rationale for it. In the case of Maduro, look, it's very simple. This guy was indicted. No one ever did anything about it. He didn't think he was under threat or that the indictment was ever...
It's actually funny because, you know, the rhetoric that they were just pissed off and that's why they did it kind of shines through here, where he's like, look, he thought he was invincible and stuff. I'm just looking at Venezuela. Venezuela, someone said that Maduro handed out guns. Now, Venezuela has a population of 31 million. I somehow doubt that Maduro handed out any amount of guns in the country that had any meaningful impact. I don't know what the point you're making there is.
We're going to be enforced. It was enforced yesterday.
Hernandez was convicted by a jury.
I understand. You're asking me. The pardon authority is something that, you know, I'm not involved in my role. I'm not criticizing it. I can't just comment on it because I just wasn't involved in those deliberations.
Do you support it?
I wasn't involved in those deliberations. I haven't looked at the case file. I haven't looked at the arguments made by, you know, I've got a bunch of other things going on that are within my purview as Secretary of State.
You would think as Secretary of State, you know, where you're looking into, like, drug trafficking, where you're making major decisions about tearing countries to apart, you may have looked into a drug trafficker being pardoned. I don't know, though.
And National Security Advisor, but pardons aren't one of them. So I can't comment on a case that, frankly, I'm aware of, but not deeply and familiar with, and I don't want to comment on something that I haven't had a chance to be involved in reviewing the file and the rationale behind it.
Sorry, let me just close some of these so we don't have so much open. God, I have a lot open. Where are we looking? This was a good tweet, by the way, that I saw that Matthew Petty posted from someone who was private, so we don't know the originator of it, so I can't actually give them any information. I know I keep stating variations of this take, but so far, the only people Trump bombed who dug in and committed to a protracted fight, Ansar Allah, as in the Houthis, won for all intents and purposes. He's obsessed with kicking in rotten doors, but the minute he meets real resistance, he bails. It is kind of true, you know. The Houthis certainly managed to hold their own, and especially considering that Yemen is such a poor country that the Houthis don't even control all of it. They kind of made it a heavy price to do anything, you know, and I think that is a very good point to make.
He said the United States is going to run Venezuela. Under what legal authority?
Well, first of all, what's going to happen here is that we have a quarantine on their oil. That means their economy will not be able to move forward until the conditions that are in the national interest of the United States and the interest of the Venezuelan people are met. And that's what we intend to do. So that leverage remains, that leverage is ongoing, and we expect that it's going to lead to results here. We're hopeful that it does, positive results for the people of Venezuela, but ultimately, most importantly for us, in the national interest of the United States. We will no longer have, hopefully, as we move forward here, we'll set the conditions so that we no longer have in our hemisphere a Venezuela that's the crossroads for many of our adversaries around the world, including Iran and Hezbollah, is no longer sending us drug gangs, is no longer sending us drug boats, is no longer a narco-trafficking paradise for all those drugs coming out of Colombia to going through the Caribbean and towards the United States.
You know, in that article that I mentioned about Noriega, it literally says how the US was listening to private discussions of them around Jimmy Carter signing like an act around the Panama Canal. And apparently their conversations were just like, yeah, America's open for business for us running drugs there. American governments to this day don't actually care about drugs. They don't. What they care about is just theater and showing their power.
And obviously, we want a better future for the people of Venezuela.
And once again, anyone who thinks that you can address drugs by just targeting drug trafficking are idiots. Like, genuinely, it has not worked for decades.
We want them to have an oil industry where the wealth goes to the people, not to a handful of corrupt individuals and stolen by, pirates all over the world. That's what we're working towards, and we intend to use the leverage we have to help achieve that.
Let me ask the question again. What is the legal authority for the United States to be running Venezuela?
Well, I explained to you what our goals are and how we're going to use the leverage to make it happen. As far as what our legal authority is on the quarantine, I'm very simple. We have court orders. These are sanctioned boats, and we get orders from courts to go after and seize these sanctions. So I don't know, is a court not a legal authority?
Amazing. There's obviously no legal authority for any of this. And by the way, I just saw some of you state this. Yes, Maduro's wife has pled not guilty. Maduro pleads not guilty. I am a decent man and the president of my country. Brothers, good to see you, Riverwand. The South America shit is insane. I think people are underselling how much is happening right now and that we are essentially trying to take over an entire continent. Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think for me, like when I was talking to Isaac was a part of the reason Isaac wasn't so sure he wanted to come on stream was because like, oh, I'm really upset by this kind of stuff and it's tough and like definitely it's upsetting and it's troubling and it's worrying what they're doing. The only thing I will say is that after Gaza and the way in which so many people have, rejected what the US government is doing, what all Western governments are doing, and the lack of response to that and the horrors that we have seen, all of this just feels like par for the course. And in the history, it feels like par for the course. Largely just Trump ramping up for a new era of just, oh, we might coup Cuba, we might coup anyone, we're going to bomb your country whenever we want. So Ethan Klein is taken seriously here. Well, yeah, he's the legitimate president of Venezuela, so why would we not take him seriously? But yeah, right, we'll get into a full... actually, wait, before we do Marco Rubio, we'll do Trump addressing we'll do Trump gaggling with the press on Air Force One, which should be very intriguing.
President, you came from a different way this time.
Yeah, a little bit different. We have some good people. We have Senator Lindsey Graham.
Hello, everybody.
We have Howard Lutnick, Commerce. We have Steve Miller. We have a lot of people. We have Aaron. We have a lot of people. Go ahead.
Hi, Mr. President. Have you spoken with any of the U.S. service members who were injured during that operation in Venezuela?
Yes, we have calls into them. I want to speak. They're all in good shape.
Can you detail what watching that was like when all of this played out in Venezuela and what Maduro was doing that moment?
Well, I knew the possible danger. I mean, it was a very dangerous operation. It was amazing that we had a few injured, but all are in good shape right now. But I knew there was great danger. You got off a helicopter. The helicopters were being shot out. They got on the ground. They're amazing talent and tremendous patriotism, bravery. The bravery was incredible. Lindsay.
Not gonna lie, Air Force One looked way cooler in Pluribus than it does here.
They got off the helicopter and the bullets were flying all over the place. As you know, one of the helicopters got hit pretty badly, but we got everything back.
This is also one of the saddest parts about this. They didn't take down the helicopter fully. Also, Riverwand, I'm kind of back to streaming a bit more consistently, and we've been not done it for ages. If you're still here, let's have you on at some point, maybe even this week if you fancy it.
Nobody killed.
The next question is who's in charge of Venezuela right now? Have you spoken to the newly sworn-in president there, Rodriguez? And what are your thoughts on the entire situation when you said the U.S. would run Venezuela?
We're dealing with the people. We're dealing with the people that just got sworn in. And don't ask me who's in charge, because I'll give you an answer and it'll be very controversial.
What does that mean?
It means we're in charge.
Have you spoken with her?
This is just like, I like how he states we're in charge. I want you all, though, to be wary, because the rhetoric around Gaza was exactly the same. That he said, we are going to own Gaza, and when they asked him who's going to pay for it, he said, no one is, it's a mess, we will own it. Yeah, River One, let's talk privately, and let's get it on this time. I know we've put it, I've put it off for ages, and I apologise for that. I'd love to have you on.
We're in charge.
Have you spoken with her?
No, I haven't, but other people
Do you want to?
Yeah, at the right time, I will.
Did the U.S. give Delcy Rodriguez any guarantees in exchange for cooperating
No,
with your
no,
administration?
but she's cooperating.
Are you going to demand free and fair elections in the short term in Venezuela?
Well, it depends. You know, what you're talking. We have to do one thing in Venezuela.
After the US invades Iraq. Yeah, I think now talking about Saddam being like also, by the way, Saddam is like incomparable to Maduro. There is literally no comparison between what the two of them did. Saddam Hussein was genuinely a genocidal maniac, like in terms of how he treated the Kurdish people. The Anfal campaign is utterly horrific and despicable. He was a very, very, very bad individual. But yeah, I think right now, like, I just don't feel the need to preface everything by saying Maduro is a dictator, Maduro didn't win free and fair elections. It's like, this is objectively worse. Invading and bombing a country is objectively worse. Going into the country is just repugnant and disgusting. There is no sense to it all. I mean, of course, when I say that there's no sense, there is actually complete sense in the logic of what Israel is doing. Israel, I mean... I think people overblow Israel's role in this. And they were like, Machado has to go into power. Machado has to go into power because she's pro-Israel and is going to move the embassy there. Put frankly, I don't think Israel even gives a shit about what Venezuela does in terms of moving its embassy there. Sure, it's great. And I'm sure Israel wouldn't mind if Israel wouldn't mind if there was a pro-individual in Venezuela, but they've already got people in South America doing that. However, are your eyes completely fucked without glasses? Does the world look like an impressionist painting? Sorry, that just made me laugh. I don't really know. I don't really know if I'd describe it as the world looking like an impressionist painting. I don't think it is. It does look like an impressionist painting. It just kind of looks a little blurry. They're not that bad, actually.
Bring it back. It's a dead country right now. It's a country that, frankly, we would have been, if I had lost the election, we would have been a dead country. We would have been Venezuela on steroids.
By the way, I don't think many people have been pointing this out because I don't know if they watched the whole interview. I know that there are many people and it wasn't some, like, really special thing that I did by virtue of watching an interview. However, has anyone noticed that he is saying the exact same things from yesterday, where he says, oh, we would have been Venezuela on steroids, and he repeats it as if it's some kind of special news. I genuinely think he is losing it, and I don't think that that's an outrageous thing to say.
Venezuela right now is a dead country. We have to bring it back, and we're going to have big investments by the oil companies to bring back the infrastructure. And the oil companies are ready to go. They're going to go in, they're going to rebuild the infrastructure. You know, we built it to start off with many years ago. They took it away. You can't do that. And you can't do that with me. They did it with other presidents.
How soon do you think an election can take place in Venezuela? How soon can an election take place?
Well, I think we're looking more at getting it fixed, getting it ready first, because it's a mess.
They're very good at getting countries ready for elections. Very, very good. The West in general has been very good at setting up meaningful and good political systems. The Middle East is a perfect example. And yeah, sight is associated with intellect. If you can't see, you can't reason. I tend to agree with you.
The country is a mess. It's been horribly run. The oil is just flowing at a very low level. Much lower than even if it was badly run, it should have more income, more oil than what they're doing. So we're going to have the big oil companies go in, and they're going to fix the infrastructure, and they're going to invest money.
Also, bit of a question, which I feel like maybe only Sophie might know the answer to. If you're on a plane with Trump, like the plane is flying right now, right? It sounds like it is. Maybe it's fake. Maybe Trump can't be on a plane because he's worried that he's going to end up like Logan Roy, you know, and he forgets to wear his compression socks. But either way, what happens with these people? Do they just like take a flight with Air Force One and then just go wherever Air Force One lands and then fly back? Or what happens? Like, that's seemingly the only thing that can happen, right? I'm sorry if that sounds stupid. Does that make sense? That you just go on a flight and you sort of end up there?
We're not going to invest anything. We're going to just take care of the country. We're going to cherish the country. We're going to take care, more importantly, of the people, including Venezuelans that are living in our country that were forced to leave their country. And they're going to be taken very good care of. Yes, ma'am. Yes, I have.
Which ones? Have you received any commitments?
All of them, basically.
By the way, I don't know if any of you will be interested, and there is a 0% chance that I'm reading this on stream, but if you want to understand what's going on with the oil that Trump claims is stolen, there is a short piece here from in Adam Tooze's chart book, which I've just linked in chat, which you guys will see before. And Sophie has answered the question. Thank you, Sophie, for being here to provide us with these very important answers. However, either way, there's a very, very long explanation here, which is only an excerpt from an incredibly long piece, which also includes an interesting WikiLeaks cable about ExxonMobil basically dismissing the basis for opposing tax increases and pulling out of the country. But these oil companies, Exxon and one with an insane name, like, what's it called? ConocoPhillips. Don't know why it's called that. There's an explanation here as to why that happened. Read on stream, coward. Molten Pandas, I could read this on stream, and I don't think any of you would kind of grasp it, or maybe some of you are just far more intellectual than I am, because I grasped it basically, but it's a short summary of a very complex argument. The ending of this piece is really good, though. But Adam Tooze is not an expert on it.
From the oil companies?
They want to go in so badly.
Did you speak with them before the operation took place?
Yes.
Did you maybe tip them off about what
before and after. And they want to go in, and they're going to do a great job for the people of Venezuela. And they're going to represent us well.
What happens?
But
So, I read someone who spoke about, like, a convergence of, wait, actually, it's in the US, it's in this article by Jacobin, which I'd recommend as, like, kind of necessary reading. Or not necessary, I mean, some of you are maybe way more, competent than I am. So, they refer to it as a confluence of interests emerging around the Caribbean center of gravity. Immigration hawks spied an opportunity to escalate mass deportations to a post-intervention Venezuela, which is, by the way, something that she talked about. Machado talked about. Oil watchers saw profit and energy security, and ideologues saw an opportunity to remove a long-standing thorn in their side. So you have Miller over here, Stephen Miller, who's interested in this. I'm not enough of an expert who the oil watchers are. I guess Trump himself and the cronies around him and just anyone who's a CEO of an oil company. And then ideologues like Rubio, who just basically wanted to remove a thorn in their sides. So I think there's quite like a multitude of different interests emerging here, and also just theater. Like, I don't think it is stupid analysis at all in any singular way to say, yeah, this has a lot to do with the Epstein files, this has a lot to do with distracting from that, and also dealing with Trump not being in a great way and his polling not being good. Like doing an epic military operation. Look at Asmongold. Asmongold's like, I'm not invited to the country. Oh, boys.
you know, the infrastructure is rusty, rotten, most of it unusable. It's old, it's broken. You see pipes laying all over the ground. Hasn't been, nothing's been invested for years. Chevron's in, as you know, they've done a good job, but even they haven't been in a position to invest money because they're at a month-to-month basis.
What happens to this?
They're only there because I wanted them to be there.
Greg, I mean, that is a strong point. I haven't aced any dementia tests recently. May have dementia. And also, I guess, yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm not so sure. I honestly, this is like just terrible. But by the way, there is a correct aspect to that. Venezuela's oil infrastructure has lagged behind. But the other thing is like when you've sanctioned a country and there's a massive brain drain going on, because why would the elite who can afford to send their children to expensive schools, and also you've sanctioned it massively, why would they keep their kids there and develop it there? Like, I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen, is it? Like, it's part and parcel of the sanctions, you know?
Contingencies in case the military...
Chevron is living paycheck to paycheck.
Venezuela is unhappy with the U.S. and the way it's running Venezuela. Do you guys have plans for anything?
So Venezuela thus far has been very nice, but it helps to have a force like we have. You know, we were ready for a second wave. We were all set to go, but we don't think we're going to need it.
It is utterly ridiculous.
There's about
Trump is drinking all the gloopy oil milkshake. Yeah, I don't think you're wrong about that. I think quite plausibly he is drinking the gloopy milkshake. Yeah, hashtag bring them home. And once again, someone made this point earlier about talking to people. Even in Palestine, right, you do realize that you can't gain consensus off talking to one person, even someone who is like a decently educated figure within the Palestinian National Liberation Movement, because there are people who are secular, right-winger conservatives, there are people who are secular leftists, there are people who are, you know, representative of many different things. And also, Charlie, thanks for the $5. Thank you so much. I also just wanted to give a shout out for how many fucking members there are in here. It's actually crazy. Thank you for everyone who becomes like a member of this. Like, once again, this is like, you know, I don't know whether to call myself a journalist, but thank you for helping to keep like the stuff I get to do, you know, independent and not just having to accept any brand deal that I get offered.
17 billion worth of oil reserves in Venezuela. Is that going to be...
You mean trillion?
And is that going to be...
Right, also, the other thing I'd recommend the chart book for is there is an interesting discussion of oil and like oil reserves and how that increased at like a certain point. And it's to do with reclassification of what the oil is and like getting it out of the ground and stuff. Here you go. Dr. Robert Rueda spoke about that. When you hear that Venezuela has the world's largest proven oil reserves, remember that 2/3 of them comes from the Chavez and Maduro governments using generous assumptions to reclassify large volumes of large volumes of lower utility heavy crude as recoverable. Now, I'm not enough of an oil expert, but yeah. I'd argue you are a journalist, even if you are showing work/research other people have written. Yeah, and I guess I give my opinion, and I want to get more confident on just giving my opinion. I think that's what people like. It's very cold, and your voice is keeping me warm on my way to get... Bro, you can't be saying that in the chat. I can't be endorsing that, but thank you.
Did you say billion or trillion?
I said billion.
You said 17 billion? It's much more than that.
Okay, so what is going to happen to those reserves?
Well, we're going to run everything. We're going to run it, fix it. We'll have elections at the right time. The main thing you have to fix, it's a broken country. There's no money. There's inflation. Like we would have had, if I didn't win this election, we would have been Venezuela on steroids.
He really likes that line. He really, really, really likes that line. And also, I did not learn Arabic, so I speak a bit of Farsi, hence why I can read it. But yeah, I like am not enough of like I wish I was an Arabic speaker, and the reason that I am not able to, the reason that I'm very disappointed in terms of not being able to is because in my understanding, some literature remains locked in it.
Lindsay would know that. You might say something on that because we were talking before. We would have had a doubling up of very bad things that cost us a lot of money, like welfare, frankly. We wouldn't have had jobs, and instead of having $18 trillion in, we would have had at least $5 to $10 trillion leaving the country. So our costs would have gone up, and all of the money that's, we're setting a record. It's long broken. And that's it. That's after 10 months. We haven't included the 11th month yet. So we think we're going to hit over $20 trillion. The all-time record is 3 by another country known as China. About 10 years ago, they did 3. We're going to do close to 20 trillion. By the way, there has never been anything like this ever before. And it's all because of tariffs and the election.
I genuinely cannot wait for the day that the American empire falls. And we get to watch all of these clips played back of like, here is how Donald Trump destroyed the American empire. And there's actually a point one of you made earlier that I think is pretty interesting or worthwhile talking about. Which is, you mentioned like, saying Trump's war. 100%, you are correct about this. This is not just like Trump. Even if Kamala Harris had not launched the actual assault on Venezuela, her, Biden, all of their predecessors created the world in which these kind of things could carry on. They did nothing to majorly challenge it, Like, for example, just challenging power of elites to hold sway over politics. Like, the US response to the 2008 and 9 financial crisis was, okay, no senior banker is going to be arrested, but Obama is going to call you all fat cats, and that's it. Like, they talked about this on the Dig episode with Truanon called Slop World, which is pretty interesting, actually. I was re-listening to it. But one of the things they were talking about was how... One of the things that they were talking about was how they just never do anything. Like, Trump gets indicted, but they don't just push it as far as they can to, get him in actual trouble. They just, like, upset him a bit, and then he goes, I did everything right, and they indicted me. Was Biden actually the one to raise the bounty to $25 million on Maduro's head? America First, baby. Our dictatorship is woke and free us.
But it's because of tariffs.
There was a time...
Without tariffs, we wouldn't have 10 cents being invested.
There was a time back in 2016, I remember your RNC speech, and you were saying that regime change and nation building...
Where?
When you were speaking at the RNC back in 2016,
you
were criticizing regime change and nation building, the U.S. being involved in that. It seems obviously that your stance has changed on that. What led to that? And is the U.S. nation building now? Is that...
This isn't a country that's on the other side of the world. This isn't a country like we have to travel 24 hours in an airplane. This is Venezuela. It's in our area. The Don Road Doctrine.
So is that what you would say, that we're in the business of nation building now?
We're in the business of having countries around us that are viable and successful, and where the oil is allowed to freely come out because that's good. It gets the prices down. That's good for our country. Now, we have a very sick neighbor. It's not a neighbor, but it's close to a neighbor, and that's Venezuela. It's very sick. Colombia is very sick too, run by a sick man who likes making cocaine and selling it to the United States. And he's not going to be doing it very long, let me tell you.
What does that mean? He's not going to be doing it very long.
He's not doing it very long. He has cocaine mills and cocaine factories. He's not going to be doing it very long.
So there will be an operation by the U.S. and
it sounds good to me.
Secretary Rubio mentioned...
I wonder if this is all just a threat to push Petro towards concession to the US. And yeah, he's personally very talented. And to be honest, I do think you have a point, Greg. I had never really considered that it was kind of mean to say... I think it is kind of mean for them to nationalize oil.
You know why? Because they kill a lot of people, yeah.
Secretary Rubio mentioned Cuba yesterday in his remarks. Does the U.S. have a plan to do something?
Well, Cuba always survived because of Venezuela. Now they won't have that money coming in. They won't have the income coming in. You know, a lot of Cubans were killed yesterday. You know that. A lot of Cubans were killed.
Do you know how many?
The bodyguards. No, they're looking. But a lot of there was a lot of death on the other side. No death on our side, but there was a lot of death on the other side, unfortunately. But a lot of Cubans were killed yesterday, trying to protect him.
There's been protesters killed in Iran. You said we were locked and loaded, ready to go. What is the line there for when the U.S. is going to get involved in those protests?
We'll take a look. We're watching it very closely. If they start killing people like they have in the past, I think they're going to get hit very hard by the United States.
Can I just add something? So when he first got elected in January, we met.
So amazing to hear from Lindsey Graham, who's going to tell us about how he's killing the right people. Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
Biggest comeback ever. We talked about
you think so, really? I didn't feel it was a comeback, actually.
So,
because the first one was...
The bottom line is...
It's also just really pathetic to watch any of these people interacting with Trump. Like, put frankly, just watching all of these people just going up to him and behaving like little sycophants is so pathetic.
We talked about a drug caliphate in our backyard. You know, we had Venezuela, we have Cuba, we have Colombia.
Oh yeah, 100%. 1,000 Iranians were murdered in the 12-day war. Like, Israel has realistically murdered tens of thousands of Palestinians for rejecting being occupied forever and permanently. Like, that's why they kill Palestinians. No one gives a shit. And someone mentioned, like, the concept of democracy and all of these things. How democratic, really, are the countries we live in? How democratic is the United Kingdom? Like, how democratic is a country where it is very clear that popular will is against the Zionist project, and yet you can do nothing to challenge it? In fact, you may go to prison for peacefully protesting against that Zionist project. You are not allowed to engage in any form of upholding international law yourself, or you are going to prison as a terrorist because the UK government will make up that you are funded by Iran. How democratic is it effectively to have any of these people whose entire political clout and power relies on lobbyists backing them up? You know? And sorry, yeah, I missed the drug caliphate thing. Yeah, make it sound a little Muslim. Just add in the word caliphate and you get a scary Arabic word, so...
In our backyard, and these three countries have been condemned ever since I've been in politics. Joe Biden put a $25 million bounty on Maduro's head.
Well, there you just got your point confirmed.
Chris Smith...
And yeah, he's now calling the Monroe Doctrine the Donroe Doctrine.
The day he got inaugurated, said, I hope Trump will hold Maduro's feet to the fire. You did. So what has he done? He's going to clear our backyard of a drug caliphate, countries run by narco-terrorist dictators who murder, rape, send drugs into our country to kill thousands of our citizens. To my Democratic friends, you should be celebrating this.
Yeah, there is probably going to be an intifada of the drug lovers, but it'll probably just be based in Washington, and it'll just be them rising up and smashing Donald Trump for taking away their lovely drugs.
When bin Laden went down, I was the first to applaud President Obama. This was one of the most sophisticated military operations in the history of the country. What they were able to do was amazing. They knew we were...
It's so funny how brazenly they just talk about, like, you know, mass killings and all of these things that, like, Israel and America does, and they're like, oh, it's a brilliant military operation. You guys would be upset if someone said the same thing about what Al-Qaeda managed to do against American soldiers for many years inside Afghanistan. God forbid someone dared to say that about what they did against you, you know? People who'd never flown planes before. Like, these people love to just hype up mass killings, but yet, oh, God forbid you ever talk about Americans getting killed and their countries being destabilized. No, 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 no.
Coming. We had a good part of the Navy, and they were able to capture this man alive. No military in the world could have done it. And as to this commander-in-chief, he did something people talked about doing. You just wait for Cuba. Cuba is a communist dictatorship that's killed priests and nuns. They've preyed on their own people. Their days are numbered. We're going to wake up one day, I hope in 26, In our backyard, we're going to have allies in these countries doing business with America, not narco-terrorist dictators killing Americans. This is a big frigging day. And everybody in the world is thinking differently than they were just a few days ago because of what you did.
By the way, you know, you mentioned something that's interesting. Lindsay mentioned bin Laden. You know, I wrote about bin Laden 1 year before the attack on the World Trade Center. And I said, you got to go after bin Laden. It was in my book.
Donald, no. Please don't bring up what you were doing in the early 2000s. No. Don't you dare do that.
And
yeah, bro, this is the... No, I don't think you can tell him to get back on Grindr. You can't get... There's no Wi-Fi on Air Force One. He can't get any matches because he's flying over loads of different states.
A few people want to say that, but it was in my book. You know that, I think. You've actually talked about it. But if they would have had...
The killing of priests and nuns, by the way, weren't there huge amounts of priests and nuns killed across, like, Latin America in places like Bolivia, right? By the death squads that were funded by America.
They would have listened to me, they would have taken out bin Laden, and you wouldn't have had the World Trade Center tragedy.
Yeah, this is certainly going...
Did you know that? I predicted bin Laden.
I learned something every day.
No, but did you hear that?
Well, I didn't now, I just heard it right now.
No, I wrote a book. It was 1 year before the attack that the book came out, and it talked about, there's a whole page, a whole section dedicated to a guy named bin Laden who's a bad guy who you have to take out.
Amazing.
So, I'll get the book. But right...
Oh, just repeating himself. Like, this guy is fully senile. He's just repeating himself.
After the election, he told me, I'm going to clean up our backyard. Now, this was before he took office. This is one of the president's priorities, is to make sure that people in our backyard...
It's also so amazing that, you know, this is just not relevant to the vast majority of people's lives. I'm sorry, it's spectacle for idiots online and idiots who still worship Donald Trump. Materially, this is not improving the lives of the vast majority of people. And the fact that the mainstream left can find no meaningful answers to this in either country is truly just mind-boggling.
Narco-terrorist states will not continue to kill Americans without the number of people that will be alive today because Venezuela will be in different hands is going to be tens of thousands. This is something to be celebrated, whether you like him or not.
Not just Venezuela. It's what's coming out of Venezuela in the form of ocean-going and Gulf-going and sea-going boats. Every time we knock out a boat, and we've done a lot of them, we did 3 over the last few days. They're very rare now. You don't see too many of them.
Hard to recruit.
But drugs by sea are down 97%. Think of that. And now we're going to stop them by land, too. The land is easy. We had to do the sea before we did the land because it just works out.
Yeah, you were just talking about the land, but it sounded like...
And by the way, you have to do something with Mexico. Mexico has to get their act together because they're pouring through Mexico, and we're going to have to do something.
By the way, this isn't going to happen. So there was an article that was basically about why they don't want to do this. Scheinbaum has talked a big game, but she hasn't actually, like, really stood up to the US. The only reason that they're able to control the southern border so well is because they have the collaboration of her. Like, people realize that, right? Like, they do want to bomb... the fentanyl labs there, but it's not working. And yeah, you gotta do the sea.
We'd love Mexico to do it. They're capable of doing it. But unfortunately, the cartels are very strong in Mexico.
I remember one time you actually, speaking of Mexico, I asked you about Claudia Scheinbaum, and you told me...
Yeah, isn't one of the problems with, like, weaponry in basically any country that borders America that people just traffic and sell weaponry into those countries, right? Like Mexico. I think Canada has a big problem with illegally smuggled weapons as well.
At one point, you had offered to send U.S. troops into Mexico to combat drug trafficking there. Is that something you
I like Claudia. I think she's a terrific person. I would say every single time I talk to her, I offered to send troops.
And she's just not willing?
She's concerned. She's a little afraid. The cartels are running Mexico. Whether you like it or not, It's
Like
not
it or
nice to
not.
say, but
It's
the
a fact.
cartels are running Mexico.
Yeah, speaking of those U.S. troops, I mean, one thing that Americans and a lot of people are wondering, you just sounded like you weighed out another strike, another land strike at least in Venezuela. You sound like you weighed that out. But
Well, we didn't need it.
but-
We were prepared to do a second strike if we needed. We're totally prepared.
But that's
And
off
we're
the
still
table.
prepared.
That's off the table now.
And you're all just affirming what I was saying about, thank you, yeah, that just all these weapons are going in. Canada should be worried too. I mean, I think they're talking a bigger game. Like, they seemingly haven't even fully changed the regime in Venezuela. I think over the coming weeks and months we'll learn a bit more. But like, what's going on? The opposition hasn't taken over there, and we clearly saw the groundwork being laid by that, not just by America, but by the world, with the Nobel Peace Prize from Machado. Like, what happens next? Like, you know, the VP's in power. She's talking a game about Maduro being the legitimate ruler, them wanting him to be freed. Like, what is this? Like, what's going to happen?
No, it's not. If they don't behave, we will do a second strike.
And, like, how do we know that just decapitating a regime is like, it over? How do you know that decapitating a regime is that over? And yeah, once again, people talking about, like, drugs. Obviously, we mentioned this yesterday. The CIA were making tens of millions, of hundreds of millions, maybe even billions from what they were getting up to in Afghanistan.
Will you demand
The
that
question is
Venezuela-
that the American troops, are they going to be on the ground? They're doing any kind of peacekeeping. I think Americans are very...
It depends on what happens. It depends a little bit on the new administration, if you want to call it.
So if you see that pushback from Rodriguez and ultimately...
Well, I don't think there was pushback. I think that...
She
frankly,
called it...
you know, you hear a different person than I hear.
Really? So you have spoken with her?
We talked to them, yeah.
Oh, you did speak with her?
They've been very good.
Because she called it kidnapping of Maduro.
It's all right. It's not a bad term.
I hadn't seen that part. What? No problem. Have a nice day, Michelle. Have a nice rest of the evening. Where he just said, oh, it's not a bad term for it. What?
No, are you...
What do you mean?
Are you going to demand that Delcy Rodriguez let opposition figures return or free any political prisoners?
We haven't gotten to that yet. Right now, what we want to do is fix up the oil, fix up the country, bring the country back, and then have elections.
No. Is it fair?
We better bring the country back. Otherwise, you're going to have a mess that's so bad. It was really bad. It's going to get a lot worse unless we go in and fix it.
Is the U.S. going to reopen its embassy in Caracas or get the DEA?
We're thinking about it. We've been asked to do it.
You
We've actually been asked to do it.
Do you think you had Putin and on the phone, of course, and then Zelensky at Mar-a-Lago?
Yeah.
You told me that
numerous times.
You told me that your New Year's resolution was peace on Earth. Do you think that 2026, if you could set a deadline of when the Russia-Ukraine
I don't
war...
do deadlines, but I would say that, you know, like as an example.
I don't do deadlines. Trump says he will end war on first day. Didn't he say some shit about ending the... Oh, it wasn't in jest. Trump said, here are 53 times Trump said he'd end the Ukraine war within 24 hours or before taking office.
Thailand and Cambodia.
Well,
I was very proud of that. Wait a minute. And they started up again and they got it solved.
Where does it
I give myself 1/4 of a point for that. So now I'm 8 1/4 points because they started up Thailand and Cambodia, and now it's okay.
So where does it actually stand between Russia
I
and
think we'll
Ukraine
have a deal
right now?
at some point, hopefully in the not too distant. So I don't know if you saw the numbers just came out. 30,000 soldiers were killed this current month.
And there was that intelligence.
30,000. 27,000 the month before.
You and Senator Graham discussed additional Russian...
Do you know one of the reasons that I actually think Trump does this now is because he can't really independently think. He just repeats the same things over and over again and often speaks over and ignores a reporter's question that he can't answer. These are the exact same talking points of yesterday.
Sanctions?
We discuss it all the time. There's nothing else I talk to him. I don't consider him very exciting to talk to, except when we're talking about legislation. And we talk about legislation all the time. You think that's an exciting relationship? It's not. But we talk a lot about legislation.
It's really unfortunate that a man so destructive and sinister is also really funny. It is unfortunate, but he wouldn't be this if it wasn't for that. Like, I think those things are, like, inseparable. The way in which he speaks, his voice, his aura, and all of these things are a big part of why people like him.
And we have great legislation coming. You want to tell us?
So, the tariff bill, so here's what I believe. I don't think we could have secured the border without the threat of tariffs. I don't think we'd have a European trade deal without the threat of tariffs. So, if you want to end this conflict, then put
Who's the bold guy?
Pressure on Putin's customers. He sanctioned the 2 largest oil companies in Russia, which is the biggest pressure anybody's put on Putin since the war started. But we have 85 co-sponsors to give this president...
It's hurting Russia very bad, the sanctions.
Oh, yeah. So this bill would allow...
And India also is below.
Yes, sir. So he put a 25% tariff on India for buying Russian oil. I was at the Indian ambassador's house about a month ago, and all he wanted to talk about is how they're buying less Russian oil. Would you tell the president to relieve the tariff? This stuff works. So I'm hoping we'll bring the bill up, and it's from 0 to 500. He picks the number. Nobody else does. But if you're buying cheap Russian oil, keeping Putin's war machine going, we're trying to give the president the ability to make that a hard choice by tariffs. I really do believe that what he did with India is the chief reason India is now buying substantially less Russian oil. So I hope we pass this bill soon. And after this...
They wanted to make me happy, basically.
Sorry, there is this is true apparently. The United States is increasingly issuing work visas to OnlyFans models based on the level of audience reach according to the Financial Times. What the actual fuck? Jesus Christ. Yeah, you're right, it is a snooze whenever he starts speaking. Boring, 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 Lindsay.
He wanted to... Modi's a very good man.
Yes.
He's a good guy. He knew I was not happy.
That's who the bald man is. I choose to believe he's just an evil bald man. And yeah, not only is he the pedo president, not the first pedo president, he is the most pro OnlyFans administration ever.
And it was important to make me happy. They do trade.
Yeah.
And we can raise tariffs on them very quickly, and it would be
People are
very
afraid
bad
of
for
that.
them.
All of that to say, you told me you weren't very thrilled.
And I'll tell you something, the Russian economy is lousy, but what's really lousy is the Venezuelan economy. The Venezuelan economy is, I think, the worst economy I've ever seen. If you look at inflation, things are doubling every day.
It's stolen blood.
It's a disaster. We got to fix the country fast.
President Trump, are there going to be any more? You said the oil companies are going to go in there. Are there any other companies that you've talked to about dealing with Venezuela? Maybe Mr. London could talk about that. Are there any other corporations, entities outside?
Many outside of the oil business.
Like who?
Well, the oil business, yes, but outside, yes. Howard, you want to
So you have steel, you have minerals, right? All the critical minerals. They have a great mining history that's gone rusty. So steel, aluminum, minerals, I mean, this is all, it's a rich, it was once upon a time one of the great economies and cultures of the world, and it was destroyed, and now President Trump is going to fix it and bring it back for the Venezuela.
But it's not easy.
Oh,
It's
no.
really gone bad. But it's got potential. What?
Maybe any rare earth minerals?
They have rare earth, but everybody has rare earth. Rare earth is not rare. What's rare is the processing.
We got
We're
almost
doing
all of it.
processing plants all over. That's right.
Okay, I don't know if I'm going to watch any more of this. You know what, though? I just had a great idea for a little reprieve, because I will carry on till around 8 p.m. Would you guys be interested if I went through Hassan's predictions for 2026? Because I know a lot of people have been memeing on them. Like, this is just boring. It's just watching them. We will watch the Rubio interview afterwards, because I think there's more meat to that, his proper one. But would you guys be interested if I looked at Hassan's predictions for the year and then potentially did my own? Because obviously Hassan has had a bit of a fucking nightmare with his predictions. Okay, right. So, let's have a look at this. Let's see what he predicted. This is pretty small. Hold on. No, nah. Okay, right. Sure. So done with Hassan. No. Okay. I'm gonna have to put so many options on this poll. Do I? No, hold on. Yours first, so they're not biased. Okay, you know what? I will do mine. I've not read through Hassan's. I don't know what Hassan did it on. Hold on, let me just hide my screen for a second. I'll just do my own. Let's just do my own. I don't need to go through Hassan's. You know what? I think people would enjoy that. And chat, you can help me. We can pick some things. I'm using the Notepad app, on the inbuilt app on my PC. What do you think of that? Right. Okay. Go for it, buddy. Okay. 2026 predictions. Making predictions is hard, and I am probably going to get all of these things wrong. Millionaire who can't afford Microsoft Word. I don't know if you mean me, because certainly streaming thus far has not made me a millionaire at all. Put them aside. He's such a fucking Democrat. Of course. I don't know if you mean predictions in general, but I just mean like doing predictions. Like, I think it's just a fun thing to do that other streamers, I'm sure, do. Oh, you can't do that. Okay, right. First prediction. Now, I've seen one prediction that he's put out. GTA 6 isn't delayed. I reckon at this point, they're just going to have to put it out. Isn't delayed. So already, that's my first one. Okay, here's another 2026... Okay, I can't actually do it in the way I was hoping. So here's another 2026 prediction that is going to come true. US invades Venezuela. Nah, I'm joking. I'm not putting that there. I'm going to say the situation in Venezuela deteriorates after a total failure to reach any meaningful agreement. Israel attacks Iran again, comma, the UAE... Okay, right. Israel attacks Iran again. I don't even think these are outrageous predictions. I mean, do I even put in Greenland? Like, I don't think that that's going to happen. Russia, Trump fails. I don't know. This one feels like a bit of a shaky one. Trump fails to make peace in Ukraine. However, the war does end. I reckon at a certain point the war is going to end, but it won't be as a result of Trump. Maybe I'm going to be proven wrong in just a few days. But I don't know. Technically, U.S. invasion of Venezuela is right. Yeah, I mean, it is an invasion. I'm also going to put this here. Israel attempts mass ethnic cleansing in, well, that's a kind of an unfair one. Attempts to actually ethnically cleanse millions of Palestinians. Well, it's already doing that. It's not really a fair prediction. Israel tries to implement voluntary migration. No, to implement full policy of voluntary migration. The thing is that they are already doing this. That they are already doing this kind of stuff. It's not an invasion. I don't know that there's confirmation that Venezuela's in on it. I think that there's an argument in favor that it might be. That they might be. Here's my. I get even more ripped. Taylor and Travis broke up. I don't think I care enough to say that. You know what? Saudi UAE proxy war heats up. Wait, actually, UAE secession. Secession. God, I cannot.
It is utterly ridiculous.
Yep. Hold on. We'll add that one. Charlie, thanks for the $2. That one is going straight in. Epstein is revealed to be hiding behind Greenland's Ice Wall with Charlie Kirk, Tupac, and potentially Biggie. Israel pushes to annex the West Bank. That is actually a. I mean, Israel is already pushing to that. So I think it would have to be Israel enacts actual steps to formally. No, because they've already done that. It doesn't really feel like a. Because I'd have to go for annexes the West Bank entirely. So I don't know. No, Elvis is dead, I'm afraid. No, Elvis isn't dead. I heard him on the radio, I heard. Trump dies.
It is utterly ridiculous.
Chris, will you cover the West Bank this year? I am worried and not sure who to follow. I will cover it more. I used to cover it more on, like, TikTok and stuff, but now I've kind of moved to covering a more general news thing. I mean, obviously, it's still inflected with Palestine, and I still talk about Palestine, and any major things, it's really likely that me and Isaac will cover on the podcast and stuff, but there are still great people covering it, you know, on social media. There are like a huge amount of people who do brilliant stuff on social media. I wish I could pull names out of a hat, but I can't right now. I mean, one of the best used to be... Oh, fuck, how am I forgetting his name? Palestinian journalist who was always very active on Twitter doing West Bank reporting. Also, these glasses are cutting my ear. I think Trump is going to die or is incapacitated by a health scare.
It is utterly ridiculous.
And the administration pretends not only that he is fine for not only for at least some time, but they also create a fictitious world for him in which he is the God Emperor of the entire the entire world, actually. Ethan drops content nuke part 2, and this time it's about Chris. Shall I predict Ethan Klein? Yeah, we'll see. I was going to say, should I predict Ethan Klein loses lawsuit, but is it even this year? I don't know. Andre X. I wasn't talking about Andre X, but Andre X is brilliant. Yunus Tirawi is who I was talking about, the Palestinian journalist, but he doesn't really do that anymore. Chomsky does. I'm going to put it in, but that's a bit of an unfair one. England win the World Cup. Okay, you know what? I'm going to put that in just for Hope Corps. England win the World Cup. Keir Starmer is impeached. Well, you don't get impeached. Is no confidence. Loses vote of no confidence. Keir Starmer subjected to vote of no confidence. The only thing is, and is replaced by a terrible ghoul. Spooky ghoul. Chomsky is somewhat alive. It's a bit of a bad one to put in there. Starmer definitely just... Nigel Farage dies. I actually think Nigel Farage will be in power for a short while, and then all the smoking and drinking catches up for him. Also, sorry, I realize you might not be able to see, so I'm going to make this bigger, actually. How do I do that? I'm going to make it bold. It's bold and it looks horrible. Hold on. Let me just fiddle with this. How do I make this bigger? Can I make it bigger? Why is this not... You know what? Charlie Kirk comes
It is
back.
utterly ridiculous.
The people, yeah. Wait, actually, that is a semi-good one. The H3 decline not only continues, but accelerates. Here's another hopium one. Well, I wanted that. I hit 100,000 YouTube subscribers. That's a nice one. Subscribers. Control. I will try that off screen. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Nah, it doesn't seem to work, but I'm zoomed in. Chinese game wins Game of the Year. What even is releasing this year? Games releasing in 2026. What games are releasing? 2027, Resident Evil Requiem, Mugenics, Neo 3. I've never played this. 007 Third Light. I don't know. I don't even know what will win here. Monster Hunter 3, Twisted Reflection. I don't know. I'm not familiar enough with Monster Hunter. I don't know the game well enough. Erica Kirk, Pregnant. I didn't want this to be a bulleted list. Who's leaving the H3? Erica dates USA creates a Charlie. I actually think that Charlie Kirk public holiday. I don't even know if they can establish a Charlie Kirk national holiday. Candace Owens topples the French government. Healer joins Jewish Voice for Peace and acts exactly the same as the past 3 years. Oh, wait. Biden dies. Erica.
It is utterly ridiculous.
Erica Usha, JD Vance Polycule. There's potential. I guess I should put this in goals rather than predictions. So, it's a goal. It's not a prediction. It's just a hopium. So, yeah. The No Politic Here podcast ends in a terrible fight over socialism in one country versus international revolution. Isaac is ice picked in Montreal. I don't think that's going to happen. The No Politic Here podcast continues and prospers. Sardinian independence. Sardinia is completely destroyed. Sardinia is destroyed. War Butler. That is like, that's the banker. That's the one that cannot fail. Erica Kirk fakes having a baby, which actually turns out to be AI generated, but it possesses having a baby which from birth holds all of Charlie Kirk's facial features and debate skills. However, it actually turns out to be AI generated. No. There's another Hassan prediction, which I do actually agree with. Major AI problems. AI gains sentience, backs Hamas, and leads to a total destruction of the Zionist project. Nah, I don't think Nigel... We all become Charlie Kirk. That's a shit one, because already that's happened. She has to have another a baby, male's Charles. The baby turns out to be the next Christ, a.k.a. Charlie Kirk. Russell Brand starts a church. Yeah, I'm actually going to put in beloved UK celeb becomes, is outed as a sex offender. That one cannot, is outed as a pervert is probably how we'll phrase it there. Pulling more AI books from collection at work. Personally predicting that I'll be pulling... Oh my god, actually, wait. Here's an amazing bit I want to show you. So, Silent Scythe... no, not Silent Scythe. Mediocre Violist sent the craziest thing that you will imagine. At work, they received what is allegedly, according to Silent Scythe, what is allegedly an AI book with the most insane title imaginable. I genuinely do. Can I actually? You know what? I want some of you, before I pull this up,
It is utterly
to
ridiculous.
take a small guess of what you actually think the title of this book might be, because I don't think you're going to get anywhere near what the title of this book actually is. It's put frankly, it is one of the most insane book titles that you can ever imagine. Just cook up the most insane title that you could ever imagine. Erica Kirk gives birth to the Antichrist. Yeah, thanks for the 100 ARS. Yeah, Peter Thiel believes that. I know it's mediocre. Well, I mean, I'm just going to show you. Yeah, there's no way any of you are going to guess. What if Hitler had been woke? But that's not actually my favorite bit. Yaniv Tinstein, amazing name, has written this masterpiece ostensibly called What If Hitler Were Woke? Look at the reviews. A deeply engrossing tale that makes you rethink the nature of political power and the course of history. Amina, Nairobi. A mind-bending alternative history that keeps you hooked from the get-go. Lauren, from New York. Eloquently captures the complexities of political ideologies, offering an intriguing what-if scenario. Kareem, Cairo. The reviews on the front, the endorsements are, just from random people. They don't even purport, actually, this is from some kind of author. They just claim that, no, it's actually a person from a city. And yes, just first name city, you're right. You're right, they just said first name city of X person. Truly amazing. I, for one, am actually really intrigued what this book is about. Yaniv Tinstein. What if Hitler had been woke? I'm just trying to find out some information about this book. I am wondering if there's any kind of more commentary, because the back is just as golden. Sorry. What have I done here? Oh, fuck's sake. I fucked up. Hold on 1 second. Also, actually, I'll get back to my predictions once we finish this, but I'm going to have to run for a pee again. I am busting. I'm absolutely busting for a pee. I have drunk too much water. Just read this. In What If Hitler Was Woke, an alternative history, Yaniv Tinstein invites readers on a thought-provoking journey through a world that could have been. What if one of history's most infamous figures, Adolf Hitler, had championed peace, tolerance, and liberal ideas instead of war and hatred? Now, as a basic premise, the Weimar Republic was like Germany but woke. So, what are you talking about? Through detailed historical context and a compelling narrative, Tinstein presents a fascinating reimagining of Hitler's lives and the course of world events. This speculative narrative challenges readers to reflect on the power of individual choices and the impact they have on history, promoting a more empathetic and nuanced understanding of history and its figure. What the fuck? promoting an empathetic and nuanced understanding of Hitler. This book is a compelling read for history buffs, fans of alternative history, and anyone interested in exploring the intriguing what-ifs of our past. Now, on the back, they don't even let us know where people are from. Oh my god, it's generated Sarah Jane. An innovative take on Hitler's narrative that will leave you pondering long after you turn the last page. Daniel S. Unputdownable. It stretches the limits of the imagination and leaves you hungry for more. Jack B. A fascinating and thought-provoking alternative history that makes you see the world in a new light. Mediocre Violas, thank you for providing us with this absolute gold. I am just perplexed as to... I'm just trying to find stuff. I don't know. Right, really sorry, guys. I'm going to run for a pee. I'm just going to put on the BRB screen, but I'll be back to do more predictions after I've been to the bathroom. Sorry about the lack of video there, music there. You need to listen to Yes, the Rhythm of Your Own Harp. His wife that's actually famous and he's not beloved at all. Oh, really? Interesting. Very interesting. I was going to say David Mitchell, but then I was like, actually, no, David Mitchell's very famous. Right. Okay.
It is utterly ridiculous.
Alfonso Himmler was actually a good guy and he got manipulated by the Mufti. Peepo Podcast told me that on the lawsuit of his video. Wait, are you talking... who you talking about Alfonso Himmler? Are you making a joke about that the Mufti allegedly pushed them towards doing the carrying out the Holocaust? But thanks to the 100 ARS. But I guess, yeah, you could just... Also, what if history is genuinely the most stupid genre I could possibly imagine? Because, by the way, you could just point to a left-wing figure who was a dictator who, just Jesus Christ, who was reading that? I did have a good pee. David Mitchell becomes a Reform MP. Ooh, that's an interesting question. Does he become a Reform MP? I'm trying to think of more things that I... oh, I see. Wait, I think I should put Trump dies or incapacitated by healthcare, and not only that he's fine for some time. I'm going to put here J.D. Vance takes over. Hunger strikers don't. I don't want to predict that the hunger strikers don't survive. I'm going to be frank there. I'm going to put this. Syria joins the Abraham Accords. It's also the Israeli election, so I guess I should put in here Netanyahu loses the Israeli election and he is replaced by Naftali Bennett. The Democrats and liberals pretend that everything is fine now. Oh, wait. Yeah, you're probably right. Major scandal involving Grok. It's already brewing, but there's some kind of major scandal involving Grok. Major scandal and lawsuit involving Grok generating insane things. Maybe I should put, actually, the H3 podcast decline not only continues, but accelerates. Ethan gets even more brazen with the Zionist and pro-Western colonialist propaganda. Can I predict a boyfriend for you? Maybe I'll work it. Major lawsuit involving AI-generated books. I mean, I have no hope with that, unfortunately. Did I put much in about the UAE? I guess I should put that up. What I should do is, Israel attacks Iran again. Syria joins the Abraham Accords. Major, I think there's going to be large-scale uprisings in at least one MENA country. Uprising against dictatorship. Large-scale uprisings against dictatorship in at least one MENA country. Do you think the line... No, I don't think the line is going to be completed. And me becoming a father is if I was going to think, Chris does not become a father, that is a banker. I'm not having a kid. What if Hitler reads out like a tweet I'd find on my phone after drinking from the bathtub? Why the fuck is that a book? It's an AI-generated book. It's not real. I did not know that Tila Tequila had that. Me and Isaac might have a song, yeah. Even vaguely popular, using posting photos, is bombarded with Grok put her in a bikini. Someone's going to sue at some point. Yeah. I think that... I don't think it will be that. I don't think it will be that pushes it over the edge. I think it'll have been that you can get it to generate, like, really bad stuff in private. I mean, people had it generating images of Elon Musk the other day that were just insane. So, put frankly, I don't know. I don't know how bad it'll be. Seeing Wicked on stream. I don't know what else I should put on here. Are there any other... How many is this? 1, 2, 3. It would be way easier if I just did this. Wait. So that's 21 predictions. That's pretty good. Do we need more? Right, I'll put in. You know what? I won't put all of this. Buy a healthcare and pretends that he is fine. Pretends that he is fine, or he is impeached. I was going to say Chris Cunn's the YouTube channel hits 100k subs, but I don't think I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to put that in my goals. Something about RFK. Oops. What about the potential... Ethan... I don't think Ethan's going to sue Noah Sampson. I just don't think it's going to happen. Eric Adams gets a talk show. No, Maduro's not gonna... No, that won't happen to Maduro. No, wait. Ghislaine... is that how you spell it? Ghislaine Maxwell dies. Who are some old people? Is David Attenborough still alive? I reckon he's gonna die. But I'm not just gonna put the people who are gonna die who are like... just sort of alright. But I think maybe David Attenborough will, so there's a prediction. RFK gets mauled by a bear he thought was dead. The smart thing to do is to only predict terrible things and celebrate when you're wrong. I mean, I was thinking about popping in Luigi Mangione walks free. Maybe that is correct. Walks free. Someone senior... Wait. We're not going to go for someone's wicket. In the Trump... administration dies in a comical or spectacular or ridiculous or obscene obscene I'll just go for obscene way. I think that might happen. Yeah, we get an AI Attenborough documentary 6 months after his death. God. But maybe there'll be a podcast with me and Isaac in person one day. I mean, it's not like I don't ever go to Canada, so genuinely, who knows about that? Maybe that will be a thing that happens. However, I don't really know. Yeah. Marjorie Taylor Greene. No, I'm not putting in that. Protect Marjorie Taylor Greene. Oh, here's one. Some major... right-wingers turn their backs on Palestine and return to the Zionist cause. Actually, I don't know if that is a good prediction, because it does feel like some people may actually go back, or like aren't going to go back. I don't know. I'm going to keep that one out. I'm going to keep that one. UAE... okay, wait. I do actually... UAE-Saudi tensions, someone said this earlier, escalate massively after huge UAE overreach for... across the MENA. Nick Fuentes moves to Saudi Arabia. Yeah, maybe. Rogan shifts to being a Shining Path guy. It may happen. Clawback. Yeah, that's the reason I had that there, because I don't think many of them are convicted, that like have strong convictions. But yeah, I think Netanyahu's going to lose the Israeli legislative elections, quite possibly. I think he's going to lose it. He'll lose the popular vote, and I think Benny Gantz, not Benny Gantz. I think most likely Naftali Bennett wins it, and the West tries to sanitize its image of all of this. American economy crumbles. I don't know. You know what? I don't think that's insane. American economy. I don't know if it'll crumble. It just feels like it'll bounce back from anything. Falters. Let's go for falters massively. So it's completely dependent on the size of the bag Israel drops in their lap. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I don't know. Mamdani x Netanyahu to win the streaming awards for their unprecedented Minecraft parkour server streams. There's potential. There's potential. Narco-terrorists invade the Isle of Man. Huge ISIS resurgence. That's not really a fair one because it's already happening. Actually, you know what? Major ISIS, Islamic State, IS resurgence. Yeah, Ghislaine, Ghislaine. That's why I spelled it wrong. It's not. It's Ghislaine. Maxwell dies or starts a major political campaign. Ooh, Petro overthrown. Ooh, I don't know. I don't know. The East Turkestan. Please predict that I get my driver's license. Nope. If I predict it, it probably won't come true. I do think there will be a major Islamic State resurgence, by the way. I just think it's plausible. I'm not going to lie. I think it's already happening. Major IS / militant Islamist resurgence. Hamas terror hospitals. I think Israel will assault Gaza again as well. Iran again. Israel attacks. Yeah. I mean, more cocaine, like, more drugs does actually come from, well, I mean, that's not even fair, because Israel launches another assault, major assault on Gaza. And I have seen the overtures they're making against Petro, but remains to be seen. You know what? Case against Maduro falls apart due to some insane incompetence from insane incompetence from, I don't know, Hegseth. Who feel like a picnic? Wait. The first year, Pakistan is interesting, but not necessarily good for Pakistan. I don't know. The rise of Christian nationalism in the UK and interference. Maybe there is a rise of Christian nationalism in the UK. That might be true. I'm just gonna predict the most obvious prediction. China wins big. Like, I feel like that is not even a prediction. That's just truth. Truth nuke. That's a truth nuke that some of you KKK lovers don't want to say. The US does not Venezuela shit elsewhere, and China is forced to get off its ass. I don't know. Shit is gonna falter. Everyone's just lying about that shit. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's as convincing here, but yeah. Takes over the West or whatever. Yeah, Islamic Jihad takes over the West. I think that's probably something that's quite likely to happen. High security prison. Maybe. Will require China to have a spine, which they do not. Yeah, I don't think China will act. Islam spreads massively in South America. Is that, I'll get up to 30. I get even more ripped. That's an obvious one. You're probably right. Ooh. No more assassinations. You know what? Maybe that's a good one to close it with. Another major political assassination attempt. Yeah. I don't know. Now I'm feeling like should I throw in another one? I'm kind of getting addicted to making predictions. Oh, actually, wait. Polymarket. deranged polymarket scandal. Second Iranian Revolution. US takes over Greenland. You know what? Takes over Greenland. Okay, surely have to reckon with the Chinese century. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're wrong about that, but how's it gonna happen? Bro, I don't know. I don't think I should guess people to get politically assassinated. I don't think that's a good idea. Do you think, was there anyone who predicted Charlie Kirk would get assassinated? No Politic Here live show in Canada. Maybe that would actually be a fun idea. I don't think there's enough people. Prince Andrew gets married. Prince Andrew becomes men's mental health advocate. And Prince Andrew goes on GB News. America forced into a restriction of making predictions, which was the GB News. The Etsy Witches did. Yeah, they did. They did. The Etsy Witches. I'd like to have Brace Belden on, but yeah. Oh, sorry, yeah. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor goes on GB News. Sorry, I'll replace it here. That's my sincere mistake. Oh, that is a banger prediction. AI song hits top 10 in the US, though. I don't think it'll happen in the UK. Liz Truss becomes PM again. Jeez. Right, these are my 2026 predictions, so let's go through them. GTA 6 isn't delayed. I just think at this point it's not going to be delayed. They can't delay it again, surely. Can't wait to eat my words on that. The situation in Venezuela deteriorates after a total failure to reach any meaningful agreement. Plausible. Israel attacks Iran again. Likely. Israel launches another major assault on Gaza. That was meant to say, my apologies. Israel tries to implement its full policy of voluntary migration. Syria joins the Abraham Accords. Large-scale uprisings against a dictatorship in at least one MENA country. I'm including Israel in that. Netanyahu loses the Israeli election and he is replaced by Naftali Bennett. The Democrats and liberals pretend that everything is fine now. I think that is actually 100% going to happen. They're going to be like, Naftali Bennett is actually like a real moderate. I get even more ripped. Oh, sorry. Secession of multiple UAE-backed movements. Epstein is revealed to be hiding behind Greenland's ice wall with Charlie Kirk, Tupac, and potentially Big E. Yeah, that's definitely going to happen, locked in. Trump dies or is incapacitated by health emergency, not scare. And the administration pretends that he is fine or he is impeached. Chomsky dies. England win the World Cup. Keir Starmer subjected to vote of no confidence and is replaced by a spooky ghoul, Wes Streeting. The H3 podcast decline not only continues, but accelerates. Oh, I'm adding something in here. Sorry. Accelerates. And another crew member leaves as Ethan's declining mental... I'll just put state. No, I'll put mental state.
It is utterly ridiculous.
A huge outburst. Biden dies. Oh, sorry. Ethan gets even more brazen with the Zionist propaganda. Zionist and pro-Western colonialist propaganda. Biden dies. The No Politic Here podcast continues and prospers. The Kleins. Naftali Bennett is a really great guy. He's challenging Netanyahu in the elections, and you vote against him. Most Israelis, they don't like him. They don't like him. They aren't liking this Netanyahu guy. He's not good. Okay, beloved UK celeb is outed as a pervert. That is a banker. That one is gonna happen. Major scandal and lawsuit involving Grok generating insane things. Yeah, I think that's going to happen. Like, not just like a day on Twitter where everyone's like, oh my god, Grok will generate this. I am talking about like some kind of thing where it's like, yeah, in private you could get it through like manipulation to generate CP. I think is plausible. Ghislaine Maxwell dies or starts a major political campaign for her freedom. Luigi Mangione walks free. I don't think that'll happen this year, and I'm not so confident in that one, but who cares? Someone senior in the Trump administration dies in an obscene way. That seems to be Anne. Obviously, I was changing it around. But yeah, I think that's going to happen. Obscene way, multitude of different things. UAE-Saudi tensions escalate massively after huge UAE overreach across the MENA. American economy falters. I'm not going to go for Pops, as AI disappoints. Whoops, I spelled that wrong. Major Islamic State slash militant Islamist resurgence. Case against Maduro falls apart due to some insane incompetence from Hegseth or other drunkard creep. You know what? Yeah. Another major political assassination attempt, deranged polymarket scandal, US takes over Greenland, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor becomes a men's mental health advocate, and, wait, I'm going to couple these two together, and Andrew Mountbatten Windsor goes on GB News. AI song hits top 10 in the US. I think Tyler Robinson will quite possibly be found guilty of his crimes against the people of the world. Oh, there was one in there that I really liked. Oh, yeah. Ethan gets a new tattoo to own Idubbbz or the snark. Wait, content crash out. Oh. Ethan has another terrible debate. That's my final predictions of the year. Trump quotes Lenin randomly. You know what? No, I'm not done. Trump has some kind of major health event on camera. Tyler's love language was acts of service. Maybe top 10 on Spotify. I feel like there'll already be a top 10 on Spotify song that's already there. But yeah, I think those are my key predictions for the year. And I think they're pretty good. Yeah. Ethan opens his mouth. These things happen. No, there won't be a Kunzler. In fact, there is no Kunzler versus Klein debate. He collapses live. Yeah, that's probably the best. Trump collapses. Trump collapses live streamer on Kick kills some. No, I probably shouldn't put that. Avatar. Oh, wait. Films releasing in 2026. I don't know anything that's releasing this year, but I'm sure that many films will be bad. Oh, wait, here's one. The Boys Season 5 will flop. There you go. That's my final prediction. It'll get watched, but it's going to flop.
It is utterly ridiculous.
Ethan debates Nick Fuentes and comes for the and they become friends. I don't think he'll become friends with Nick Fuentes, but I think he'll debate Asmongold and end up agreeing with him, maybe. Trump shits himself live on TV. Trump collapses live. I guess those two are together. Not all last seasons. Breaking Bad's final season's really good, and so's The Sopranos. But yeah, right, I'm going to save this, and... we'll come back to these as they all happen. Okay, right. I guess we're going to finish up with the UK stuff. The UK stuff currently going on is insane. And I, as a proud citizen of the United Kingdom, a proud subject of the Crown, am astounded at the shame that Sir Keir Starmer and the Labour government has brought upon us. It is truly shocking. I don't think any of you are prepared for how insane this actually is. So this guy is called, like, Mike Tapp. And it's not even a bit. This guy is... wait. This guy, I'm pretty sure, was, like, posting about how he loves a full English. Look at this guy. So this guy who refuses to condemn what's going on with Trump said to Carl Hudson, who said, Parliament is full of dreck who think patriotism is about what they have for breakfast rather than, say, lifting this country's children out of poverty. Mike Tapp, have you bothered reporting on the anti-Semitism of our streets? Genuinely, these are the people leading the United Kingdom that we have to vote for because they're left wing, by the way. Someone whose, like, greatest achievement is this. Taking his dog for a full English and, like, posting about it. Full English is good, though, but I wouldn't have mustard on a full English. But let's hear what this brilliant man has to say.
But allies matter. Allies influence, they pressure. I mean, let's look at Greenland, for example, right? We've had the Danish Prime Minister calling on the United States to stop the threats against a historically close ally and against another country and another people who have very clearly said they are not for sale. If Donald Trump's moves against Greenland or against, Denmark, is that a different matter?
Look at this guy just, like, panicked swallowing because he knows he can't say anything out of Keir Starmer's line. This country is so pathetic. Keir Starmer is so pathetic. Everything going on here is so pathetic.
Will the UK government condemn that?
First, I'll be really clear that allies do matter, which is why these careful diplomatic conversations behind the scenes are ongoing with the United States and with our European allies and Five Eyes partners. And we're not going to give a running commentary.
But what about Greenland?
When it comes to Greenland, Denmark and the United States, these are both NATO members, and I'm really proud that NATO has used discussion over division to ensure that these problems in the past
Can you at least just...
Like, just not being able to answer a singular question is just pathetic. We are just entirely the slaves of the American empire. We're just a vassal state. Like, yes, the country is pathetic and has been for a long time. But have we really reached so low where MPs don't know anything that they're talking about and can only speak firmly after Keir Starmer tells them and in favour of Israel? Like, this is a guy talking about why don't you report on anti-Semitism in the streets? Why don't you form an opinion about anything that isn't given to you by Keir Starmer?
Say Donald Trump should not, do the same in Greenland.
What I can say really clearly is I can't see this being any different to any previous conversations that need to be had between NATO members. And
I find it extraordinary that you can't just say flat out that Donald Trump needs to.
And I think the Venezuelan issue
intervene on Greenland.
The Venezuelan issue
I find that extraordinary.
is obviously different to the Greenland issue, but that's for them to have those discussions. It's for NATO to have that solid anchor to ensure that there is no division here.
So you don't.
It is utterly ridiculous.
Do you condemn Trump? Yeah, of course I do. Aitor. Thanks again for the donation. Yeah, I of course I condemn Trump. The character of this country. I mean, I don't know if there's any one individual who represents this country, but the UK would be worse than the US if it still had resources. I mean, yeah, and also if we hadn't crippled our empire and made a lot of mistakes in terms of, I don't give a shit for, I don't care about the empire really, but after the First World War we made quite a few mistakes, and the First World War in general we just kind of put ourselves under America's thumb, and this is where we end up. But simultaneously, the UK was a malign and negative influence all over the world and has continued to be in the 20th century. The empire was atrocious and the things we did with it were awful.
You don't have an opinion on whether or not Donald Trump should go into Greenland?
Well, look, this isn't for me to sit here and talk about hypotheticals. We could go on forever.
This
like
is
that.
The Danish Prime Minister is talking about this. She's asked the US to step the threats. This is not a hypothetical.
And that's why it's really important that allies stand firm and ensure that discussions, and that's because we're not giving a running commentary on that. There'll be more in the House today in general, but of course...
But you can't say Donald Trump shouldn't invade Greenland.
Diplomacy is delicate, which means we're not here to give a running commentary in the news, unfortunately, as much as that would be fantastic for viewers, and on Twitter, but it's the end results that matter, and working together with our allies and sticking to international laws is what we stand for as a country.
Oh, you can say whatever you want about the UK. The only thing I would say is I generally find Americans more irksome than I do English people, but I do live here, and perhaps that's just a positive experience of me being younger here. Just listen to this guy.
Trump.
I don't know what the point of going on the news is at this point, where you can't say anything that Keir Starmer hasn't approved.
Has breached international law.
Well, this is complex. The Germans have said as such, as have many of our allies. And what we aren't here to do is give running commentary under pressure from social media and from media to jump to conclusions. And these sort of operations are complex.
The UK is just entirely under the American thumb, entirely. And they're all functions of the Western capitalism. Are you just talking about general our politicians versus American politicians and all of this stuff? Yeah, 100%. That is true. That we are just that these governments are all just symptomatic of capitalism. But it is truly amazing that they can't even release any kind of statement, because others in Europe have. Spain released a pretty strong statement. I think Germany even. I heard someone saying, oh no, apparently Germany hesitated to condemn it. Okay, no, Germany didn't condemn it. Spain, Venezuela, statement. Spain strongly condemns violation. This was who I'd heard had done it. I had heard Germany was stronger on it, though. Spain strongly condemns violation of international law in Venezuela, PM says. The fact that we just can't take a stance on anything is just pathetic.
And this is why it's for the United States to lay out its legal basis for what it's done and for the operation that it conducted. We'll be speaking with them and with our close allies before coming to a conclusion. You will hear more from...
By the way, this guy is the vice chair of the Labour Friends of Israel. This guy is the vice chair of the Labour Friends of Israel. He is in a left-wing political party. He can't condemn anything that Trump does, but he can support Israel unequivocally. I just love British politics.
The government in the coming days.
It has the...
Just repugnant. And, by the way, his pathetic behaviour didn't end...
it is utterly ridiculous.
Rules and legality.
Aitor, thanks for the ARS. Nukes, get now. Everyone laughs at North Korea. Look who's laughing now. I mean, in many ways, yes, a nuke is just protection, and having like the ability to defend yourself, it's not like all that insane realistically.
The Prime Minister's made it clear that international rules and legality is always at the heart of what we do as a country.
But surely President Trump has breached international law, hasn't he, Minister?
Well, we're still waiting to see that legal basis laid out by the United States for...
By the way, there is categorically no justification that could be proffered for why they've done this. None. Not at all. There is no justification. You don't need to wait for it.
Its operation.
You can see a route by which this does adhere to international law.
Well, it's really difficult to say at this point, which is why we need to see the United States lay out that legal basis. We've got to keep talking to our allies.
What could possibly be the circumstances that this was legally justified?
And I don't want to try and preempt what the United States might come with for their legal basis. It's for them to do, not for me.
But US military personnel...
It is just so insane. Just genuinely just unbelievable. Like, it doesn't surprise me, but just seeing the point of going... Like, why do they do these interviews? They're not winning them any favour.
Went into another country to abduct its leader. That has to be a breach of international... I'm not saying I'm against it, by the way, but it has to be a breach.
We're always under pressure in the modern age to make comments quickly. It's only been
48 hours,
It's only been, well, I'd say it's only been 48 hours, and I think that's a demonstration of the modern age.
If you're a military bloke, you know, 48 hours is a long time. You can win or lose a war in 48 hours.
But still, they're all, like, smiling along as friends, because the UK... And by the way, you know, listen to this. Owen Jones posted this. This is apparently the BBC's guidance to journalists on talking on this topic. As discussed in the Nine, to ensure clarity and consistency in our reporting, please follow the guidelines when discussing the recent events in Venezuela. Captured. Please attribute this to the US description of the operation. Example, the US said Maduro was captured during the operation. Seized. Acceptable for use in our own reporting where appropriate. Avoid using the term kidnapped. Thanks for keeping this in mind as you work on related stories. This is like our allegedly independent media that's meant to represent the people. Trump was like earlier, oh, it's okay to say kidnap. That's an apt term for it. Like, this is not serious. This is not reporting. Use the serious term to discuss what's happened. Oh, shit. ITV News have apparently just posted that apparently people behind the scenes have decided about potentially changing leaders. But who knows? Who knows? I think they have. I think they're going to do away with him. I think that protection was an absolutely another shoo-in. That this is just going to end up. But, like, this rot goes all the way to the top. Listen to Keir Starmer here earlier, talking to Sky News journalist Beth Rigby.
In Canada, Germany, as well as the UN Secretary General, have all said that the US has violated international law.
Interesting, because Germany seemingly didn't say that, or did they say it? But yeah.
Has the US violated international law?
Well, international law is really important. It's the framework, and it's for the US to set out its justifications for the actions that it's taken. But it is a complicated situation. It remains a complicated situation.
So you're not going to say whether you think
the most important thing is stability.
Well, like, what is this crap? Just sort of saying words. Just saying words to avoid ever saying anything meaningful. It's like listening to Jordan Peterson. This is the most Jordan Peterson-coded UK government ever. Pure word salad and tosh with no meaning.
And that peaceful transition to democracy. That's what matters to Venezuela above all else. And that was the position we took before the weekend. It's still our position
now.
So
you're not going to say whether you think they have or haven't, just to be clear?
I'm going to be clear that I believe in international law. I've long been an advocate for international law.
You know, Keir Starmer was... Keir Starmer's also the most comical, because Keir Starmer was involved in, like, the Srebrenica genocide case at the International Court of Justice. There are, like, photographs and videos of Keir Starmer doing it. Hold on. So Starmer represented Croatia at the genocide hearings before the ICJ at The Hague in 2014, arguing that Serbia wanted to seize a third of Croatian territory during the 1990s and eradicate the Croatian population.
I'm absolutely clear that is the framework that applies.
Okay.
Obviously, it'll be for the US to set out their justification in relation to the action that they have taken.
You don't.
Given what they do in Gaza above GHF size, yep. I mean everything that they have done and continue to do in Gaza and support and enable is pathetic. Sorry, is evil. It's pure monstrous. Like the amount of children that they have aided and abetted the slaughter of. But this pathetic, just lack of condemnation is just. Like, I think there's no other description apart from pathetic. It is repugnant that they cling to Israel in any capacity. There is no reason for it. It's not popular. It's not a good thing for even like establishment left-wingers to do it. And yet Keir Starmer can't move away from them. But don't worry, he's solid on Greenland.
The future of Greenland is for Greenland and the Kingdom of Denmark. And it's for Greenland and the Kingdom of Denmark only. Mm-hmm. Denmark is a close ally of the United Kingdom in Europe and a close ally in NATO. And so it's very important we stand by our ally and very clear about the future of Greenland.
And that's your message to Donald Trump as well when you speak to him next?
It's my consistent message in relation to
God, he is so scared of him.
Greenland. And so that's not a new position. It is the future for Greenland is for Greenland and the Kingdom of Denmark. They are a European ally, they're a NATO ally, and we stand with Denmark. The future of Greenland is for...
Just insanity. And there's like a longer one of a different Labour MP. Yet another Labour MP. Who is it? Starmer's Chief Secretary. I apologise.
Darren Jones, Chief Secretary. Thanks to the Prime Minister. Thanks so much for joining us live in the studio. Darren Jones.
Darren Jones. Here we go.
Chief Secretary. Thanks to the Prime Minister. Thanks so much for joining us live in the studio this morning. Does the British government support what the US has done?
Well, I don't think anyone in Venezuela seems to be sad about the idea that President Maduro is not in office anymore. The UK, like the United States and many of our European allies, didn't recognise the legitimacy of the last election in Venezuela. Indeed, the UK government sanctioned President Maduro.
By the way, this is the thing. The Democrats wouldn't have couped Venezuela, but they certainly wouldn't have given a shit that it happened. And Labour is the exact... I mean, Labour aren't even capable of condemning it. They are just a pathetic... We are just a vassal state of the US.
Himself, not long ago. But given what's happened in the last 24, 48 hours, the important question now is ensuring a peaceful transition so that a new president of Venezuela can be elected democratically with the consent of the people of Venezuela, and anything that we can do as a third country in respect of that, we're happy to do so.
But do we support it?
Well, the idea that President Maduro is no longer the president of Venezuela, yes, we always thought it was illegitimate.
So we support the outcome. Do we support the means?
Well, the means is unconventional. There's no denying that. It's for the American administration to explain the...
By the way, also just the most conventional thing ever for the US to do.
Legal basis for having done it. The UK
sure, but do we
not.
Support it?
Well, it doesn't matter one way or another because it's happened and we were not involved.
Surely it matters. We're a UN Security Council permanent member. Surely it matters what we think. Do we support it or not?
Well, the UN Security Council is going to meet this week and the American administration will have to set out the legal basis for the operation.
Are you saying that your own government's view about this matter doesn't matter?
No, I'm saying that we need to see the legal basis for the operation that the Americans undertook. They've not published that detail yet. I'm assuming they will do at the UN.
It's so funny as well. Whoever you vote for, they just stand up. They don't stand up for anything.
Security Council.
Would the British government do this?
Would we do...
Yeah. Would we do what they've done? Would we remove a foreign leader in that way?
Seems unlikely, but we don't know the legal basis for the operation. And as I say, until we've seen the detail of that, we can't really speculate.
President Trump says the US will run Venezuela. Do we support that?
As we've said, as I've just said, there should be a democratically elected president of Venezuela that commands the support of the people of Venezuela. It's a democratic country as the basis in democracy. And
but when asked last night...
This is actually just amazing. And one of the biggest indictments of the notion that you just have to vote for the left because they're better than the far right. They're better than the right. This is the best expectation that you can have? You have to vote for this?
Who would be running Venezuela? Trump said
someone who not only can't condemn the operation, but can't condemn Trump for saying, oh, we're going to run Venezuela.
Behind me, members of his cabinet. Now, as a politician dedicated to the rule of law, as you said, does that make you feel at all uncomfortable?
Well, we're not really clear yet on the detail of what President Trump meant by that. I understand this morning that the courts in Venezuela have appointed an interim president and that the administration in Venezuela continues to operate. So I can't speculate about what President Trump meant. Only he and his administration can answer those questions. But as I say...
You can say whether you think that on an interim basis, we think it's a good idea that President Trump runs Venezuela.
Sure, all I'm saying is that all I've seen on an interim basis is that an interim president has been appointed in Venezuela by the Venezuelan courts.
And you have no view whatsoever about whether what he's done and what he's proposing to do is legal. You haven't thought about it.
There is literally, but also, they've sent out all these idiots. But how, and as terrible as they are at their jobs, who could you send out? Who could you send out to defend this position? It is so incoherent and nonsensical. It doesn't mean anything. It is totally meaningless. This is so obviously illegal, a brazen violation of international law. Send out anyone in, and they cannot defend this position. No one can. It is humanly indefensible.
It's not for me to come to a legal judgment.
No, but you've got lots of lawyers. You've got thousands of lawyers working for the government who could.
That will inform the Foreign Secretary's views at the UN Security Council once the detail has been seen. But
is that assessment being made currently?
Well, of course, the British government will be at the UN Security Council, so it'll have to take a view having seen...
Will you publish that legal advice?
We don't routinely publish legal advice because
but this is important. But so would you give an indication of it?
It's not a decision for me, but we don't normally publish legal advice as a matter of precedent. But of course,
I can see why you would hate this horrible monotone accent. It's just so uninteresting as well.
Of course, if the UN Security Council meets this week, we'll consider that detail when it's published.
Let's imagine that...
Yeah. Wait. So they sanction Venezuela, destroy their economy and cause suffering. Then they attack the weakened country to exploit their resources and claim to do it to help Venezuelans. You could add that. You could add into that they exploit Venezuelans who show some happiness over this happening as well. Because of the sanctions that they have inflicted and the economic downturn that they have caused.
President Putin had kidnapped President Zelensky and his wife and taken them to Moscow. And President Putin said that he's done that to protect the national security interests of Russia. If I was sitting here talking to you and asking whether you thought that was a good idea and whether that was legal, would you be saying to me, well, it's up to the Russian government to produce that legal basis?
Any operation from any sovereign state that recognises international law, I'm not sure that Russia does in these circumstances.
Anyone who recognises international law. Israel doesn't recognise international law. Israel doesn't even recognise our positions in international law, right? Like, you realise that. This is undeniable. Israel fundamentally denies international law, and so too does the United States. We allegedly believe in a two-state solution and that Israel is illegally occupying the West Bank, East Jerusalem, and the Gaza Strip. We categorically believe that settlements are illegal. They are expanding all of these things. All of the settlements, into the West Bank, potentially even into the Gaza Strip. They are also simultaneously working to undermine it. But, oh no, Russia doesn't recognize international law as we do. So, no. This is a top-tier response. Well done, Darren Jones, for cooking up this.
If they do, they have to set out the legal basis for any decisions that they take.
So Russia could do that, and you would just wait for them to produce the legal text?
No, I'm not answering a hypothetical question. What Russia's done in Ukraine is clearly illegal, in the same way that settlements in the West Bank by Israeli settlers are clearly illegal.
He mentioned it, but he said by Israeli settlers. That's the fucking Israeli government, by the way. You think those are illegal? You think it's okay to launch a military act to support, violent military action against Russia because of its government to enable Ukraine to bomb Russian cities. So why is it not okay for Hamas to bombard Israeli cities? Because Israeli cities are the ones backing them up, right? You know that. Like, Israeli cities are where the power bases lie. Those settlers don't act on their own.
But they're clearly illegal because they've been judged to be illegal by international courts.
I don't remember when Russia invaded Ukraine. Many British politicians, yourself or others included, coming out and saying, well, let's wait a while for lawyers to produce a legal basis. You just said it. You just said it was illegal. So why can't you do that here? Because virtually every legal commentary I've seen this morning has said it is clearly illegal.
So I think the circumstance...
Settlements are also like a national institution in Israel, by the way. And so I think I would reiterate this again. Once again, anyone who says, I support Palestinian violence against Israeli settlers because, you know, they're settling Palestinian land, why do you support it specifically against them? The Israeli government are the ones who sponsor them, right? Like, the Israeli government are the ones who back them up. Sorry, excuse me.
These were different. President Putin undertook a more traditional invasion war into Ukraine. The Americans are saying this was a law enforcement measure.
They've kidnapped, Chief Secretary, they've kidnapped the guy. They've literally abducted him. They've taken him to a New York court. They're publishing pictures. I mean, don't get me wrong. Nasty, horrible, brutal dictator. No one's weeping for him. But the precedent is clear. They are literally putting out pictures of the guy on this helicopter.
I'm weeping right now. Can you see there's a small amount of water coming out of my eye? I'm weeping for Maduro. But also just like reiterating this nasty, horrible guy and saying like, oh, no one's weeping for him. I'm not happy. In the same way that I'm not happy when Israel carries out its scores of assassinations against anyone.
Blindfolded. And you're saying... that could be fine. Might be.
All I'm saying is we can't answer those questions yet because they've not published the legal basis. You've not seen it. I've not seen it. Well, they'll have to make submissions to the UN Security Council.
We've heard it from President Trump, Chief Secretary. He thinks that Mike is right. The fact that America can do it means they should do it. And indeed, he's saying quite openly that if other countries get in his way, he'll do the same to them. And you're not saying that makes you uncomfortable or worried or disturbed. You think it's just, let's just wait and see?
We want the rules-based order to work, of course we do. But look, this isn't just the position of the UK government. This is the position of other European countries too. Germany has been saying the same as the United Kingdom. All I'm saying is we need the time over the next few days of this week to engage with our American counterparts, for them to publish the legal basis of the operation for the UN Security Council.
Would you urge the United States government not to abduct any other foreign leaders?
Look, I'm not going to answer hypothetical questions.
You won't urge the United States government not to abduct other foreign leaders?
We think the rules-based order matters and that people should...
It's kind of like the two-state solution to me. It's pointless. It's a meaningless word to kick the can down the road of ever challenging the unjust and unfair system that we live in. You know? Like, the rules-based order in the world in which we live is just a way to ignore actually doing any meaningful change, you know? Same with the two-state solution.
Comply with international law. When an operation like this is...
You're not making an assessment as...
Yeah, we should have waited for Hamas's pretext, I assume, because Hamas may have had some explanation as to why it's legal under international law to do October the 7th, and probably was stronger than what the US is using here.
To whether or not you think...
They're fighting against a belligerent occupation, you know?
It has complied with
that actually shows no willingness to make peace with Palestinians, so they engaged in a military assault against Israel.
Because it's for the Americans to set out the basis of the legal basis on which they did the operation, and then for international courts or the UN Security Council to take a view. I'm not trying to dodge the question, Lewis. All I'm saying is this is the way the rules-based order works. It's not for an individual state to judge international law. It's for the international courts to do so.
In order for a rules-based order to work, surely it's important on those who believe in the rules-based order to point to people who break the rules-based order and say, you've broken it, not just to dodge it because they're friends of ours.
For sure, but we're not the international court. We're the UK government.
No,
the international court
we're supposed to be an important country.
Yeah, we are, and we're.
You don't sound like an important country. You don't sound like you're speaking for an important country, Chief Secretary. You sound like you're speaking on behalf of a supplicant country who's afraid of a bigger country.
I disagree with that assessment.
It is crazy. 80 million people live in the United Kingdom. It was once so powerful. And now we are just entirely benevolent to the United States. We don't offer anything positive. We don't offer anything meaningful. And don't tell me that we couldn't, because look what the Houthis can do to America. We're obviously not going to engage in a military fight against America, but look what people there can do. And people be like, oh, it'll make the UK economy worse. You think it can get that much worse? I mean, things are pretty terrible here.
We are following the proper process that any government would follow.
If this were Russia, if this were China, if this was anywhere else in the world, we would be the first out the traps, first out the gate, saying, this is disgraceful, we condemn it. You know.
China should invade Taiwan and then we'll wait for their legal president.
that. I know that.
As I say, we need to see the legal basis for the operation that was undertaken and what President Trump meant by his comments yesterday in terms of the administration.
The wife of Stephen Miller, the president's deputy chief of staff, has tweeted a map of Greenland, you might have seen this, covered with an American flag saying that they're next, saying soon in capital letters. Would you urge the United States not to invade Greenland?
Of course, Greenland is part of the Kingdom of Denmark. It is a sovereign state in its own right, and the rules-based order and international law is very, very...
Kind of amazing how they trot this guy out. Guys, please spam... James, it's not going to work, mate. I've got to call my friend, so unfortunately there'll be no Counter-Strike. I wish I could, mate. But sorry about that. But just, yeah, this guy just spamming... Sorry, I was going to say this guy spamming. No, that's fine. This guy just sort of being wheeled out and saying this crap is so pathetic.
Clear. All I'm saying is...
Would you urge them not to abduct the leader of Greenland?
Of course, but all I'm saying is that the Americans' commentary so far has been that this was a law enforcement measure against President Maduro.
They've also said it was about oil.
Well, the action that they've said so far was about law enforcement, but we've not seen any. But we've not seen any more detail about the law enforcement rationale for their operation, and that's what the American administration needs to publish.
There's going to be a vote of censure clearly in the United Nations. How are we going to vote in that motion?
So we've got to see what the motion says. We've got to see what the American explanation is.
Are there circumstances in which we could vote against America?
I don't know. I've not seen the basis of their legal argument, and I've not seen the motion. Of course,
But if we don't find those things satisfactory, could we vote against the United States?
Well, Britain is a sovereign state, a sovereign member of the UN Security Council. It reserves the right to vote in any which way it wants to. All I'm saying is I can't prejudge a motion that's not been written on a legal basis I've not seen. But the Foreign Office and our representatives in the United Nations will be doing that work over the coming days.
Do you think that Donald Trump is interested in international law?
I mean,
Yeah, we have sold the NHS. We've sold the NHS to people who don't care at all about the people of this country and care about extracting wealth. Unfortunately, that's the way that our country operates. It's basically just benevolent entirely to foreign capital, whether that's from the Gulf, the United States, from anywhere, really, who will pay.
He has made very clear that he's interested in trying to resolve peace in Africa and
Don't worry, I know who James is. Like, it's fine. He's just joking.
other places around the world.
Do you think he's committed to international law as a concept?
You'd have to ask him the question. I mean, the United.
You. Well, I'd love to ask him.
Well, I don't speak on behalf of President Trump, as you will appreciate. I don't.
Well, President Putin's clearly not interested in international law. Would you agree with that?
Well, because he's unleashed an unconventional illegal war in Ukraine.
And President Trump has abducted, as you yourself say, in a completely unconventional, unprecedented way, has abducted a foreign leader. So given everything we know, and given that he's threatening other countries with the same, and given his record in other areas as well, would you say that he's very interested in international law? And I think he would probably say he's not. I'm just interested in what you think.
As I say, I'm not going to try and be a spokesperson for President Trump. I neither wish to do that or will do it. I speak on behalf of the UK government.
Do you think America continues to be a dependable ally?
Our relationship with the United States on economic and security and defence matters is really important to us. You know, I sit in...
Do they listen to us about anything?
Yeah.
This is just the most pathetic thing I have ever seen or heard. Ever. Ever. Just the level of benevolence to a foreign government who doesn't care about us, who treats us like that we're meaningless. Like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it would be awesome if we just, did whatever. Just did whatever. And that all of a sudden the UK would be good if we condemned America. But at least having a backbone to uphold the international law that they continually use to justify to back Israel, to fight against evil terrorists is, horrifying. It's just horrifying that they can do nothing, that these are just buzzwords. But then again, after Gaza, what's the point in believing anything that any of these freaks have to say?
Yes, I sit at number 10 in the Cabinet Office. Our intelligence relationship, the work that we do day in, day out,
didn't even tell us about this, though, did they?
The UK is really important. And continues to be important. They didn't engage us on this issue because we were not involved in it. We were not operationally involved in any way. This was a unilateral action of the United States of America.
But there's plenty of precedent for when
It's also so funny that so many UK patriots literally dream about us being way closer to the United States. Like, all they want is for us to be even more benevolent to them. And that apparently will make us actually better. Like, amazing. The same people who claim, I want a strong England, want a government that's just like, no. We actually just support Israel.
US has done things, they typically
Sorry, we just support everything that Israel America tells us to do.
tell us, and they haven't in this case.
If there's a kind of NATO locus, or if we're involved in any way...
Special relationship.
Sure.
Doesn't sound very special.
We do.
That's it. I can't listen to any more of this drivel from these people. God, I'm going to finish up and then I'm going to call Isaac because I've got to talk to him about the plan for the episode. Hold on, let me just message him. Yeah, just us being just dogs of America is truly pathetic. It just genuinely is. I don't even know if I have anything more to say. I think that might be the end of the stream. I thank you all greatly for being on. Thank you for the major lovely donations and the amount of viewers that were here. I hope you all have a lovely rest of the day. I'll be back live again tomorrow covering similar news. If anyone's new here, drop a subscribe, all of that stuff, you know. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on and watching and just generally being here. Oh. No, wait, that's everything. Okay, see you guys soon. Have a good rest of the day.